15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, here's the punt by Ryan Rako.
Oh, got it.
Ball is blocked.
Got it.
Oh,
no,
Cowboys
no.
touch it. The Bengals are going to have the ball.
Oh, no.
You can't touch it when it's blocked beyond the line of scrimmage, and the Bengals are going to have it at the 45.
Oh, somewhere Leon Lett is saying, I'm off the hook.
That's the exact play without the snow.
Oh, no. That did not just happen.
That did just happen.
Cowboys Radio Network all over it. The pivotal play in last night's Monday Night Football contest that handed the ball and inside the 2-minute warning back to the Cincinnati Bengals. Perloff, a special teams gaffe by the Dallas Cowboys. And the big takeaway to me is any shot of Mike McCarthy keeping his job or the vibes turning around and Dallas are finishing out on a strong note just basically went away last night with that special teams gaffe because there's nothing to play for. There was this outside shot that maybe they could be a wild card, the last wild card team in the NFC because the bottom of that conference is so weak. But this is over now, and it's just a long goodbye.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. They were actually not in terrible shape to try to steal a wild card spot. So a win would have kept them in that. But let's be honest. Cooper Rush is not a great quarterback. So, what do you expect? I mean, how can you're going to fire Mike McCarthy off this? Cooper Rush showed, eventually became a pumpkin yesterday. He could not throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, which is exactly why I actually do blame McCarthy for this, because why is Cooper Rush throwing the ball 31 times in a tie game?
He only threw it 2 yards at a time. Troy Aikman pointed out he didn't throw a pass longer than 11 yards the entire first half against the worst secondary in the NFL.
Well, you know what else they are? They're not just the worst secondary in the NFL. They're one of the worst run defensive teams in the NFL also.
They ran all over him.
Rico Dowdle had 18 carries for 131 yards. He needed to be 30 carries last night. And I get it. You have to pass, set up the run. I understand complimentary football, spare me. But still, they asked Cooper Rush to do way too much yesterday. And they didn't even ask him to do a lot, and it was still way too much.
I don't think they honestly they
did ask.
I think I could drop back and beat the Bengals quarterbacks. I couldn't believe
not good.
There were so many plays where you got to take advantage of this team. And by the end, I thought the Bengals knew exactly what the Cowboys were going to do. They tried the typical first down handoff, and the 7 Bengals stormed through the line attack. At a certain point, you become predictable. There's so many little plays that Cooper Rush did badly last night, including the interception was a huge play because I think the Cowboys need to get a lead so they could just run it down their throat all game long. But there is did they try one long shot to CeeDee Lamb the entire game? Just throw the ball up in the air. Even a backup quarterback can do that. Give him a 50-50 ball. Give him anything. They did not try anything. They scored 20 points on the Bengals at home. That's terrible.
I would love to know when was the last time, EJ, can you find this, or Manny or Ray, can you guys find when was the last time CeeDee Lamb touched the ball in the second half? Because I don't remember him touching the ball in the fourth quarter. Now, granted, they had a field goal. This is the second half drives for the Cowboys. A really nice touchdown drive out of halftime. So there you go. Made the adjustments. Okay, give Mike McCarthy credit for that one. Then a 13 play, field goal drive. Okay, then you're punt 3 and out, punt 4 and out. Then you get the special teams debacle, and then you were just furiously trying to get in the end zone with a minute left. You did have timeouts, but again, it's Cooper Rush. How many times is he going to be able to win the game or tie the game for you? That's a big ask. And he got sacked, and it was a disaster.
Yeah. Lou Anarumo said some blitzes at the end that he had no chance against. There was no way Cooper Rush was even getting the ball out on some of those plays. Yeah. I think the run became too predictable. But, I mean, let's forget the actual results of this game. Let's talk big picture.
Okay.
I think there is a concerted effort out of the Cowboys powers that be to convince us that Mike McCarthy is a good coach and they want to bring him back. I don't know why they want to bring him back, Maggie. I can't exactly explain that, but I just feel like there's enough signs that they are making excuses as an organization and thinking, you know what, he's a good coach, let's bring him back. I'm not saying I agree, but I think he's coming back. I think you're not going to get rid of this guy.
Okay, I am going to go ahead and disagree. I think what they're trying to do here, which is not typical Cowboys fashion, typically Cowboys will, they haven't found a controversy they haven't loved. Jerry Jones loves keeping people on their toes. It was only 2 years ago when Cooper Rush was backing up Dak Prescott 1.0 when he said, hey, maybe Cooper Rush is so good, kind of implied that maybe Dak's job was in jeopardy. Jerry Jones loves this stuff. I just think that he's trying to be, I'll say courteous. He's trying to be respectful and not show that the Dallas Cowboys are torching a coach when you still have games to play. And I think this is going to be a clean break. I think that Jerry likes to treat people okay on the way out. Like, he doesn't really fire guys in season. It's very rare. He doesn't like to pay people not to work. And I think this is just the game of kind of public appearances, public facade. And I do think they will make a change at the end of the year. I still do.
Well, Dak came out and supported him last week. We talked about that. And then Troy Aikman was very, very specific last night. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, Troy was like, unless you're getting Bill Belichick, there's nobody whose resume can match Mike McCarthy. And I was actually thinking about the window. The Cowboys have to win now because Jerry's old. I'm going to be blunt about this. Who is the coach that they're going to bring in other than Belichick? I mean, Belichick would be perfect. He would be amazing on this team. But you'd get the sense that Belichick is too bright a star for Jerry Jones to bring in. So I think he's going to want an older coach who he's comfortable with. I just don't see who the replacement is for Mike McCarthy.
Well, I mean, that's to be determined in the process.
There's no process. They never fire their coach. That's the other thing.
Yeah, but they already gave Mike McCarthy the reprieve last year after the Green Bay debacle. And actually, Micah Parsons said after the game last night, this is worse than a playoff loss. He said, this feels worse than a playoff loss. So again, Micah Parsons is not helping out Mike McCarthy there at all, whether he intended it or not, because he said that we had a chance to turn it around. And to be fair, they had been playing okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, there was very clear Mike McCarthy outcoached the heck out of Zach Taylor last night.
Well, that's not hard. You and I think differently about Zach Taylor.
That might be true.
Well, I'm talking about another coach who might be surprised.
It was very clear. Like the Bengals not winning that game by 2 touchdowns is totally inexcusable.
You have the discrepancy at quarterback by a power of 10.
Yeah. Because honestly, McCarthy said, all right, I'm going to take the air out of the ball and I'm going to just do a lot of short passing, a lot of running, and try and keep this game close and let the Bengals implode. And that strategy kind of worked. They blocked the punt at the end. If they just got one more inch on the ball and the ball kind of goes the other way, they could have easily won that game. It was right there for them. So, and honestly, that was McCarthy mostly.
It would have been a signature win because the last 2 wins for the Cowboys were the crazy one against the Commanders. You remember that a couple weeks ago? I mean, that game was just bananas. Then they had the bye week, right? And then they played the New York Giants, and the Giants are obviously dreadful. And they beat the Giants by a touchdown.
Right.
And this would have been an amazing, keep the hope alive, and the hope's gone. I mean, this is it. I'm curious for the Cowboy fans at 855-212-4227. Do you think this was the last shot for McCarthy? And listen, I think Cowboy fans have been done with McCarthy for a while.
No, his fans would fire him in 3 seconds. You're right.
And here's the thing. You want to say like, what Troy Aikman said, there's no one with a better resume than Mike McCarthy or what have you. Well, that was true the moment he walked in the door. He had that resume already. What has he done for you? The 12-win seasons? Okay, you want to do regular season stuff? Fantastic. I don't think that's where the bar is for the Cowboys.
I mean, the bar, you're right, it's lower. It's 8-8 because they kept Jason Garrett way below. If Jason Garrett got 12 games, he would have had a statue outside Jerry World.
Okay. How about this? Can we do this isn't even a show bet that has stakes. Like, I don't even want to eat the tuna jelly or like pour barbecue sauce on Perloff's head or anything like that.
I want to.
If Jerry Jones keeps Mike McCarthy, can I finally get in basically the sports equivalent of an amen that Jerry doesn't actually care about winning? All Jerry cares about is giving you hope, Cowboys fans, stringing you along, keeping himself the story, making you think that the Cowboys have a chance. He has Super Bowls that he feels responsible for. He's in the Hall of Fame already. He's a billionaire 1,000,000 times over. He'll never spend the money that he has in 100 lifetimes. This is not about actually winning a Super Bowl. If he keeps Mike McCarthy, can I get some backup on what I've been saying about Jerry Jones forever?
Absolutely. But I'm not sure that's exactly the phenomenon going on here. I think this is about Jerry's ego in some weird sense. And I don't know how exactly he's
It's always
convinced.
about Jerry's ego.
I think he's convinced himself that I'm some sort of genius team builder. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I was thinking about this last night. Is he really at this age making the decisions?
I mean, you say that, but then
Not McCarthy's. I'm like, is he drafting the third round guy? I just don't know anymore. I think somebody else is running the team. It might be Steven.
Okay, but here's the thing. Even if he's not in the, grinding tape on Iowa State, the offensive lineman, here's the thing he does do. I think he did control the timeline of when they gave Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb contracts. I 100% agree with that. And I do think he has a lot to say over the head coach. I think he is deciding the head coach.
Totally. But he's 82. Like, I just think that maybe he's slightly pulled back on some of this.
Listen,
I think that there are other voices that are getting more in his family. Probably they're getting more and more power, and it'll probably be even more this offseason.
I get it. I know our friend Diana Rossini was asked a funny question by her friends at the Dan Le Batard show about what does Jerry Jones smell like, and she said he smells like an old man. I get it. He is an older guy, but here's the thing. I think Robert Kraft is still very much involved in the Patriots day to day. I think.
Well, no, but Kraft has nothing to do with personnel.
But coaching situations.
But Jerry's claiming that he's like the general manager.
Again, do
I
you
don't think he is.
think that Dak Prescott could have been signed earlier?
Right.
That was a Jerry thing.
That's true. But there's two jobs for general manager. There's contracts, but the equally important is drafting. And I'm not sure. The other thing, too, is there is this narrative. Let's face it. It's the first time you ever saw that defense all together last night. And it was kind of impressive. I mean, imagine if you had
DeMarion Overshawn left the game with a knee injury. That's not good.
But to see Deron Bland actually, shut down T. Higgins, whoa, I forgot that guy's kind of awesome. There are definitely pieces. That's why I think I like Troy Aikman's quote saying there's only one man with an impressive enough resume, and that's Bill Belichick. Give that defense to Belichick and see what happens.
It's too late. Belichick's probably going to be a Tar Heel.
I know.
We'll get more into that story in more details because I didn't realize how complicated the North Carolina situation is, but then we'll get to that in a minute.
I just think there's a lot of pieces in Dallas, and I agree with you. I would not keep McCarthy. I just want to be very clear, but I do think that there is a chance. It feels like the Cowboys powers that be are putting this narrative out there that the team's been hurt and he's a good coach, and everybody says the locker room loves him. They want him back.
Okay, so I know we're talking big picture here about the Cowboys and after they lost last night in a very dramatic way, but can I go small picture for a second on the actual play, the blocked punt? So it's rare. It's a tricky rule. I know it's not my profession to be a football player, but I get as a fan and a spectator, that is a tricky rule because first of all, how rare are blocked punts just in general? And then secondly, how rare is it that blocked punts go forward from the line of scrimmage? Usually they're behind the line of scrimmage. You block and everyone's rushing to pick up the ball like it's a wet watermelon or something. But this one was different, so it goes in front of the line of scrimmage. So now it's just like a regular punt where if you touch it, now it's a live ball, right? So now anyone can pick it up, right? And that's the gaff. You have to know not to touch the ball if it goes forwards from the line of scrimmage, if it's on a punt or a field goal, famously with Leon Lett, as you heard the guys from Dallas talking about. So is that also not coaching?
Yeah, I mean, but that guy just got there too. It's not McCarthy. First of all, they have the most famous special teams coach, and it's on Fassel. If that mistake, you're going to blame the McCarthy because of that? No,
I'm not blaming McCarthy necessarily. I'm blaming the coaching. And I feel like you'd blame the coaching, just like whether it's Bones Fossil or whether it's whoever. It's just like that. Generally, that stuff does fall on the player, no doubt. He's got to know. He just came back from IR, as you mentioned, so he's probably just trying to make a play. I actually feel for guys in that spot, but because you're you see the ball, it's like see ball, get ball, and you don't realize you just basically blew the game for your team. But is that not coaching? Yeah. We're talking about Mike McCarthy. We're talking about why they lost last night was because of that play.
I mean, totally true. But, I mean, I think if you come to the offseason and you're looking at a decision, Mike McCarthy versus someone else, Jerry could convince himself that is not a problem. I mean, Belichick had the Patriots in Belichick's last season probably made 50 mistakes like that. They had 100 special teams mistakes because he lost total control of the team.
Okay, but how many? But see, that's the thing. To judge Belichick on the last 2 years of New England is kind of doing a disservice to them. That's disrespect.
honestly, I think that how do you know when he comes to the new team that it's not going to be more like that? I mean, you don't know.
Well, you got all the 18 years before that or 20 years before that of evidence that he is running a buttoned-up operation.
Right, but he won't have his players. He'll be playing with somebody else's groceries. He might need a while to unknucklehead the Cowboys.
To be honest, though, these players might have more talent than the guys that he was drafting in New England at the end.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, this current team of Cowboys, honestly, you know what's so funny about this team? If you look at, if you put Dak Prescott in for Cooper Rush, this season kind of turned around. They were so hurt on defense. I mean, it's been the narrative of the season, without a doubt. They're kind of like, you can't you can't have Parsons not in, DeMarcus Lawrence not in, lose Sam Williams in the beginning, lose Deron Bland in the beginning. Like, obviously, like, there's going to be an injury excuse, and it's a legitimate excuse. Just like the Niners, you could say Shanahan's special teams are a hot mess.
And you've been calling for him to fire the special teams coordinator since like week 4.
But if they were healthy all season long, they would have been good enough to just completely overcome that and steamroll teams. But, when McCaffrey's not there, then you're going to be in a lot of close games like the Cowboys were last night, and you're going to make mistakes. I feel bad for Mike McCarthy because he had the inferior team last night. He almost figured out a way to get out of there with a W.
855-212-4227. Let's do it. Let's hit the calls early and often. Miran's in Dallas. Miran, what's the vibes today?
Hey, it's Myron. Did you say Myron?
Oh, Myron. I'm sorry about that. Myron, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well today. How are you guys doing there?
We're doing great. How are people feeling today?
Well, we wanted McCarthy out last year, to be candid with you, as far as the coaching. But at the same token, he's really not the problem. Anybody that's been watching the Cowboys for the last 20 years know it's Jerry Jones.
Yep.
Jerry Jones needs to just come from behind the veil, come from behind the curtain, put on his coaching hat, put on his jacket, and just go down and start coaching.
Just finish the job, Myron. I agree with you. Like, let's stop keeping up this facade, Just put Jerry on the sideline with a headset.
All right, boys, we're going to run the wing T here. It's like I did back in Arkansas with Jimmy Johnson. Yeah.
Now, I do blame McCarthy on the play calling. I mean, for the first time, we saw the running back really do what he could have been doing all year if, again, Jerry wasn't stepping in and having Zeke be the featured back when we all know, Zeke's best days are behind him, not in front of him.
Do you think that Jerry was meddling to get Zeke? I mean, listen, to be fair, Zeke Elliott got benched earlier this season because he wasn't showing up to meetings, and I mean, it's been a rough one for Zeke Elliott.
Zeke got in last night, and you could tell the coaching staff couldn't wait to get him off the field. Like, he had 2 snaps, and they were terrible. And Dowdle was concussed. I mean, no one has any question about that. They put him back in anyway.
Myron, the other thing, too, is this run game last night with Dowdle, and thank you for the call, and it's actually an inspired move. Just put Jerry on the sideline. Let's just end the madness. Cincinnati is, as I'm looking at it right now, 23rd ranked rush defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't run over Cincinnati.
Well, I mean, listen, they sure did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying they kind of did.
But they needed 2 more.
I don't think they had any more opportunities to run. Like, at the end, the Bengals started loading the box, so they'd run Dowdle right in the line at 2nd and 10. You got to throw at that point, right?
But don't you think that, again, I'd love to know when was the last time that CeeDee Lamb had a touch in the second half? I feel like I didn't see him through most of the fourth quarter.
No, I don't know why.
I'm wrong.
They should have put some air under the ball and just let CD go to work because the Bengals are bad against the rush. They're bad against the pass, too.
Dennis is in Syracuse, except for Trey Hendrickson, who's like a beast.
Yeah, I've never seen a more one-man defense in my life. This is such no one knows anyone on the Bengals defense except Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What's up, Dennis?
Go ahead, Dennis.
Hey, glad to talk to you. Hey, as the certified Cowboy hater, I love this going on, I can't stand how pompous Cowboy fans are to begin with, and then their owner, who thinks he rules the world. But in the real world, I agree they need a new coach. But the other thing that I'm looking at is why do they not play Trey Lance? They trade for him a year or so ago, and he sits on the bench. Now, wasn't he a highly rated quarterback coming out of college?
Yeah, I mean, Trey Lance was always the great mystery, Dennis.
Yeah.
And I love Dennis. This is a true sports fan. Thank you for making the call. Hate the Cowboys, hate their fans, think they're pompous, all that. But here's some advice for you. Let me help you out with something. Let's get Trey Lance in the game, see what he has. To be honest, with 4 games left, he's absolutely right. Trey Lance should be starting when the Cowboys go to Carolina this weekend.
Yeah, no, well, I think Cooper Rush was good enough to get them to the playoffs, so I think they had a very good reason to go with Cooper Rush. Last night, there was just a couple plays. Cooper really did not look great on certain plays. I think Aikman pointed out, like, he was rushing it a lot. Like, if he just calmed down and done the Cooper Rush, like, 10-yard pass, then he would have been in much better shape. Now, I don't think Lance would have taken the playoffs either. Like, do you think Trey Lance could have saved the season?
No, but I know what Cooper Rush is, and now that the playoffs are going to be beyond a pipe dream, you should see Trey Lance. Okay, we got to take a quick break. I see you guys on the phones, but can I do a trivia question as we head into the break, and I'll give you the answer on the other side? Can we do a no Googling?
Sure.
Honor code here between everyone on the show and everyone listening to the show? Okay, here's a trivia question for you. Which notable Super Bowl winning, I might have just given it away, but what Super Bowl winning head coach was on the field for the infamous Leon Lett play 30 years ago? So Thanksgiving, Leon Lett, they blocked the field goal. It's Miami playing Dallas, obviously, in Dallas in the snow on Thanksgiving. Miami's lining up.
Wait, sorry. On the field, you play like a player?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
On the field. Miami's lining up to kick the field goal. The field goal gets blocked. Everyone's saying, don't touch it, don't touch it. Here comes Leon Lett like a Mack truck, comes in, touches the ball, hands it to Miami right at the 1-yard line. They kick a field goal. They win. Dan
Campbell?
Well, wait up. I said Super Bowl winning. I'm going to give you the answer on the other side of the break. Which notable and Super Bowl winning head coach was on the field as a player during that infamous play?
Gotcha.
No Googling. Don't look it up.
Oh, Super Bowl winning. So Dan Campbell is winning Super Bowl as a coach.
As a coach.
Wow.
I'll give you the answer on the other side.
Oh, I know.
Trivia on this Tuesday. Don't move. Prize Picks. We absolutely love Prize Picks, especially this time of year. Make the holidays bigger and brighter with Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money action when you watch your favorite sports. Now, we've already told you about the 10 million members, the $1 billion of winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Now, though, something new, Perloff, for the holiday season. Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December. They're giving away $30 million plus in rewards. And, of course, they're calling it Picksmas.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Yesterday, I got an alert. Hey, you haven't made your Prize picks yet. Got in right on the game. Totally enjoyed the game even more, especially because I won. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. You can play it in 40-plus states, including California and Texas. You download the Prize Picks app and use the code MNP to get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. That's code MNP on Prize Picks to get a $50 credit instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Mand P.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
She's ready to play, quizzing the whole crew. It's trivia day. Perloff scratching his head. What's the capital of Peru? Spike shouts, it's Paris. Oh no, that's not true. But was made, he's ice cold. Never shows up, so the story's getting old. Maggie's questions, they're on fire. But man, he's missing, he's a serial flyer. Mike stumped by sports. Who won in 92? Zoo yells the Knicks. Wrong answer, dude. Maggie shakes her head. Come on, folks, think. But Manny's chair is empty. He's gone in a blink. There's Manny. He's ice cold. Always vanishing, his work ethic sold. Maggie stumped. Who's left to ask? Manny trivia free, dodging the task. Is he hiding at home or lost on the street? Does he fear Maggie's blading heat?
45 seconds
We'll
remaining.
never know, cause he's not on the clock. But Maggie's still quizzing and the crew's in shock. So if you're playing
30
trivia,
seconds remaining.
don't wait for Manny. He's colder than the Rockies, downright uncanny. Maggie's the queen, she'll keep the game alive, even if Manny's trivia skills never arrive.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we're back on Maggie and Perloff show. Maggie had a real banger of a trivia question to go out in the last segment. I immediately guessed the wrong answer because I wasn't fully. Well, you said super. Do you want to give the question again? Because there was a little hint that I totally blew over.
Okay, so here's the trivia question off of the Dallas Cowboys loss last night. If you weren't watching, a tie game with the Cincinnati Bengals. First play inside the 2-minute warning. It's a punt that is blocked by the Cowboys. You're thinking, here you go. You get a great game-changing play.
Here we go.
Dak Prescott voice, here we go. And because it was blocked but went beyond the line of scrimmage, now it's just like any other punt. So what happened was a Cowboys player touched it, then a Bengals player touched it next, so it was Bengals ball. This is a tricky special teams thing, and the Cowboys player clearly didn't understand it. So it is obviously shades of Leon Lett. Now,
Right.
Leon Lett was 30 years ago on Thanksgiving, and that was a field goal attempt. My trivia question was, what Super Bowl winning head coach was on the field during the Leon Lett, the infamous Leon Lett play? Who was on the field as a player?
Okay, can I not give my answer but tell you my thought process for 2 seconds here?
Sure. No Googling.
So I was thinking about Super Bowl winning coaches. Now, we know Andy Reid just dominated punt, pass, and kick as a young man. But as I recall, he never made the NFL. So he
Yes.
could not have been on the field, although he was way bigger than everyone at the time. So that knocks out Andy Reid. And we know Bill Belichick was not an NFL player. So now there's only like 3 other coaches on earth who won Super Bowls. So it's got to be one guy.
Yeah, so we're going to wait just a second.
Yeah. But Sean Payton played in the NFL, by the way, as a scab for the Eagles.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he was in the 1987 strike shortened season. And then I'm just trying to think if there are not that many NFL head coaches who won Super Bowls and played in the NFL. There's only one that comes to mind. I don't even think I have it right because I don't remember him being on either of those teams.
855-212-4227.
Has anybody else figured it out?
Wait.
I'm not saying give it up. Has anyone got the answer?
We're waiting on some very, very important sound.
Yeah, we figured it out because of the sound. But.
You guys, the Leon Lett play is I remember where I was. Now
That's my play. To me, that's better than the Super Bowl gaffe. It's so funny to me.
I'm trying to picture I'm actually having this image in my head of the play, and I remember there was an old man wearing pads on the side. Was that Tom Coughlin?
Red cheeks and everything.
Yeah. Tom Coughlin was 27, looked like he was 72.
Let's go to EJ in Dallas. EJ, and we'll get you the answer to the trivia question in just a moment. But EJ, who you blaming for last night? Who you blaming for this bad Cowboy season?
GM/coach Jerry Jones.
Yep. Well, we had a caller earlier who said he should just coach the team.
Exactly. Everybody want to blame Dak. Everybody want to blame Mike McCarthy, who been here for 30 years, who fired the back-to-back Super Bowl winning coach and said he can get 500 coaches to win a Super Bowl. Well, he getting close to 500, and it ain't no Super Bowl.
You're so right. EJ, they've been looking for, outside of Parcells, obviously, they've been looking for their guy ever since.
Everybody else has been yes-man coaches. Jerry just need to be the owner, stay up in the press box, cancel the Jerry Jones TV show, radio show, keep his behind up in the press box, and then bring in a real coach. Let somebody else get some credit. He the GM. He the coach. Mike McCarthy sit there on the press conference over in the corner like he in timeout. Jerry, what your team gonna do? Jerry, won't y'all ask the coach what the team gonna do?
EJ, it's fair. It's spot on. It's what everyone's thinking. Everyone's just a puppet for Jerry.
The thing is, if you think about their options, if Belichick and Vrabel, if they don't hire one of those two guys, then you're into the great unknown. I think if they can't get those two guys, if they're not going, then they might as well bring back McCarthy. They're not hiring Ben Johnson to take over the Cowboys. Like he needs an established coach right there. I know how he thinks. Like he wants an older guy who he's comfortable with, who he can talk to. I think he likes having McCarthy around.
All right, here's the answer to the trivia question. Which Super Bowl winning head coach was on the field during the infamous Leon Lett Thanksgiving play?
40 yards. Doug Peterson to hold. Blocked. The Cowboys will win.
Wait a minute.
Will was in the end zone. No one covered it, and Miami did. That could be a touchdown if Miami has covered it.
A Dallas player touched the ball, and then the Dolphins went on and recovered it.
It's on the 1-yard line. It's not in the end zone. It's in the 1-yard line.
There you go. Doug Peterson was the holder for, what's his name? Pete Stoyanovich. Remember him? Sure, we all do. Manny, you weren't born yet on November 25th, 1993. EJ, you probably weren't born yet either.
Well, one thing about that play, though.
No, I was 1991. I'm good.
Okay.
Lett was it's a totally different play. Like last night's play, the guy was in a bunch of traffic and everything was going on. Lett was just alone with the football.
Well, everyone was saying, don't touch it. And Leon Lett comes in like the Kool-Aid man, just breaks through the wall, like, bah.
Yeah. And by the way, the funny thing is, too, I was watching that punt. I'm like, somebody's got to pick this up and run it into the end zone because I didn't trust Cooper Rush to get 3 yards at that point in the game. He hadn't done a thing. Like the Bengals had figured out Cooper Rush. That block punt could have gone so much better. It really could have been the game right there. What if they scoop it up and run in the end zone and the Cowboys win and they're still in the playoff hunt? That's got to kill you.
It does. And I think that's why Micah Parsons was like inconsolable last night. And also, I think that's why Cowboy fans, like, enough is enough. Things aren't changing. It's not, and I know Dak's not there, but to be honest, you guys were getting blown out when Dak was there because the defense was so bad. So.
Yeah, but then the defense got healthy. I mean, they're clearly a better team with Dak Prescott. Like, they win last night with Dak. I mean,
sure.
Yeah, Cooper Rush, by the way, looked really bad for even him last night. I've been a consistent Cooper Rush defender. Why are they throwing all those plays out where he has to thread the ball out to the wing on a 9-yard pass? He should have been pick six about 5 times.
Thank you. I said they asked him to do too much last night. They were asking him to make very complicated throws, or it was way above his head.
But they weren't down the field. They were right by the line of scrimmage, and they were like 6-yard passes because McCarthy was so terrified of giving the ball back to Joe Burrow that he tried to just bleed the game out. Kind of worked, but anyway.
Let's get to Bogusch has got headlines. Anyway, that's the answer to the trivia question. Thank you guys for hustling on that. Doug Peterson was on the field during the infamous Leon Lett play, Thanksgiving 1993. What's up, folks?
Headlines are sponsored by Prize Picks. Football season's heating up, and Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Download Prize Picks and use code PRIMETIME and get a $50 credit instantly when you play $5. Must be present in certain states where it's lawful to wager. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. So the Cowboys messed up this block punt last night. Had they just left the ball alone, they would have had possession in a tie game with 2 minutes left with a chance to win. Instead, the Bengals got the ball and the win.
Shotgun snap, 5-man rush, line drive throw near side. It's caught by Chase, 30, sideline 20, Chase to the 10, 5, touchdown! The Bengals have got a touchdown pass. Joe Burrow on the play, a 40-yard strike to the incomparable Jamar Chase, and the Bengals have taken a lead.
That's Kevin Harlan on Westwood One. Jamar Chase caught 14 passes for 177 yards and 2 scores, including that 40-yard winner with 61 seconds left.
Me and Joe's on the same page. That goes back to the New Orleans game, same play. You know, we both on the same page, throwing it on my inside shoulder so I could turn upfield and make a run at the catch. And just a good job by him giving me an opportunity to make a play.
Chase and the Bengals snapping a 3-game skid with this 27-20 win in Dallas on Monday Night Football. Both teams 5-8 this morning. The Cowboys also dealing with an apparently serious right knee injury for DeMarvion Overshown. Panthers rookie running back Jonathan Brooks has torn his right ACL for the second time in 13 months, and Saints QB Derek Carr might be done for the season after hurting his left hand against the Giants on Sunday. Like former Giant Daniel Jones, Carr has one of those $30 million injury guarantees for next season, so New Orleans can't run the risk of him failing an off-season physical. Duke QB Malik Murphy is returning to the transfer portal after throwing a school record 26 touchdowns in a 9-3 season. And Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Dylan Gabriel, and Cam Ward will be in New York Saturday as Heisman finalists. Just one game in the NBA last night. The Raptors losing at home 113-108 despite 30 points from R.J. Barrett. It is not Juan Soto.
He's so good.
But the Detroit Tigers, welcome back, Manny. The Tigers do land veteran righty Alex Cobb. He missed most of last season following hip surgery last October, but was back in time to start a playoff game for the Guardians. In hockey last night, Connor Bedard in Chicago kept the Rangers struggling 2-1 at the Garden. New York has now dropped 8 of 10. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Bogusch. We will get Manny's one highlight from his weekend in Buffalo.
There was one?
We're going to come up with one. I don't know if there's a top 5.
I got a top
2.
I got a top 1. I got a picture of sad Manny drinking alcohol at 10 yesterday morning, drowning his baseball sorrows in the airport. It's my new home screen.
It's your new wallpaper.
Yeah.
Just sad Manny because his Yankees blew it.
Yeah.
855-212-4227. Today's about another equally, at times, unlikable team, the Dallas Cowboys. Yankees, Cowboys, same.
Throw some Duke basketball in there later.
I was going to say, when you brought up Duke, I was like, what is this, the evil empire?
What time we're talking Lakers?
Boy, are they in trouble. Trading LeBron? How many more unlikable teams can we talk about? Is there a Manchester United takes that we need to get off today?
How about the Phillies?
Well, we do have Eagles for you. I don't know if it's the same. I got
Close
drama
enough.
with the Eagles. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, Dallas Cowboys. Mike McCarthy, was this the last gasp for him to save his job? Perloff thinks he could still be safe. I think he's definitely out the door at 855-212-4227. We also have some drama with the 49ers. Stop me if you've heard that this season. We'll get to it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Get to the 49ers in just a moment, but I just want to read you this headline from SF Gate. Perloff, you're familiar with that publication?
Yeah, it's a website for the Chronicle and other papers.
Deebo Samuel torches any good vibes the 49ers may have had.
Well, that's hardly a shocking
That's
headline.
the headline. It's like, all right, I'll bite. I'll read it. And
Well,
I
I
read
mean, the Niners can be 15-2, and Deebo is 100% miserable at all times. Deebo has never gone a season without complaining about something. Like, look at the headline. So this is as predictable a headline as there could possibly be.
Yeah, we'll get to the 49ers in just one moment because, this season continues to crumble. And by the way, they're coming off of a win. Maybe their best one in months. William, though, is in Alabama. We've been talking about the special teams gaffe at the end of the Cowboys-Bengals game from last night. Cowboys player touches a blocked punt that was in front of the line of scrimmage. So ultimately the Bengals recover. It set them up for a late touchdown. Hey, William, how are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Maggie?
We're excellent. What's up?
Well, I remember that game back when Leon Lett and his debacle play. And the reason why I remember it is because Leon Lett is from my hometown of Fairhope, Alabama, just on the other side of the Bay of Mobile. He graduated a year ahead of me in my high school. I actually grew up with him. And I watched that game, and the whole town shut down after that game.
Oh, no. That bad, huh?
Oh, it was embarrassing.
What was worse, though, the Leon Lett Thanksgiving game, which is being brought up today because Leon Lett did a similar gaffe, although this was on a field goal attempt, not a punt, on Thanksgiving against the Dolphins back in '93, or when one of my all-time favorite Bills, Don Beebe, chased down Leon Lett in the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one, too. Knocked the ball right out of his hand before he even crossed the goal line. He didn't even know it.
William, thank you for calling. Now, here's the thing where the Cowboy fan gets the last laugh here, is that the Cowboys won that Super Bowl against my Bills.
Yep.
And the game we're talking about, the Thanksgiving game against the Dolphins, the Cowboys won the Super Bowl that year. So they laugh last.
Would you take a career that was defined by a gaffe, even if you had a great career? Because you were, right, he got 3 rings. I assume 3. I think he was on the third team. And like Jackie Smith and obviously the Hall of Fame tight end who dropped the touchdown against the Steelers. Like, would you want to be like, I offer you that NFL career, Maggie, you could get 5 Pro Bowls, but you're going to be known for the biggest gaffe in NFL history.
Oh, that's such a great question. Because I wonder if you took a casual fan, or maybe even somebody just a younger fan, like someone Manny's age, and you asked them, did Bill Buckner win any World Series?
Oh, he's a great one. Yeah.
Like, you would know Bill Buckner from his gaffe in the World Series, but what if Bill Buckner had won like 2 other World Series?
Yeah. Well, Bill Buckner was a great player back when great players hit 311, never walked, and didn't win anything because they didn't understand sabermetrics. But anyway, that's a little side take. Yeah, I don't want to be Bill Buckner. I would rather be like not as good a player and not known for that gaffe.
But you're right, because Jackie Smith and also Leon Lett, they're kind of the rare example of guys who have these major gaffes that are kind of known even by like a nickname, but they still had lots of success.
C-Webb.
But Chris Webber didn't win a college basketball championship, nor did he win an NBA title.
Yeah, but he was a Hall of Fame level player who's known for his mistake. He was way better than any of the players we're talking. Well, except for Buckner, but yes, Chris Webber's no,
he was the number 1 overall pick. I get it.
Yeah, he was just a superstar,
but he never won to balance out the timeout.
Right, but I think he's a perfect example of a great player who's known for a mistake. He's actually way better than Leon Lett.
Oh, no, I mean, our fans in Sacramento right now, our
Yeah.
listeners in Sacramento, I mean, Chris Webber is a god up there.
I think he made the Hall of Fame, right?
Of course. Definitely. I mean, just with the Fab Five alone, he should make the Hall of Fame.
Right, because basketball, I mean, I don't think he would have made it on an NBA, but he made it on the combo.
I bet if
he's
you
a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I bet if you look back, I bet he was in 8, 9 All-Star games. C-Webb?
5-time All-Star.
Okay, so
5-time All-NBA.
same as Reggie Miller.
Yeah,
I
think
think a lot of injuries.
The microfracture surgery was. If he had gotten hurt or played 10 years later, that would not have killed his career the way it did.
Class of 2021.
Who's any other guys who are known more for a gaffe than actually being awesome? By the way, Jackie Smith, when he made the Hall of Fame, I'm like, oh, that guy's a good player. I've watched a million Super Bowl films, so like that was such a big Super Bowl to do it against the Steelers. Yeah, that's tough.
This would be a great debate for tomorrow. But I don't know if there's enough people. like Leon Lett, we're talking about that because the Cowboys special team gaffe from last night is shades of Leon Lett. But yeah, Leon Lett actually, listen, there was some personal stuff with Leon Lett too. We're not going to get into that part of it. But this was he's got 2 big gaffes, but he also has a great career.
Actually, I didn't even know there was personal stuff. But if you're a 90s Cowboy, there's definitely personal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Russell Wilson kind of has.
Yeah.
That's another good one because he is a Super Bowl champ, but he's got an all-time bad interception in the Super Bowl.
And Pete Carroll kind of combining with that too.
Yeah, Pete Carroll is an amazing coach. We talk about Belichick getting another job. No one even is a whiff of Pete Carroll getting another job or a college job or anything like that.
I'm not sure.
Pete Carroll actually won in college.
Yeah, I'm not sure Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson are defined by that, though. Certainly, I mean, Carroll won those.
I think Richard Sherman would tell you that they
after Legion of Boom.
Yeah.
Or Marshawn Lynch might tell you that they
I think,
are.
ironically, Carroll's probably known mostly for USC at the end of the day.
Do you think that if Russell Wilson never had this gaffe, he would be seen as the kind of cornball that people describe him as?
Yes. I mean, he's such a cornball.
I don't think so. I think
Mr. Unlimited?
he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. I think we have more respect on his name.
I think also, I agree with Marshawn Lynch that I think they could have had a dynasty. I think that play and everything around that play it broke everything apart. They couldn't all get back together after that.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
Yeah, no question. He's an interesting one because I feel like I don't think anyone thought negatively of Russell Wilson
He was a
personally
great story.
or as a player before that play.
He was an all-time great story.
I totally disagree with you guys. We're talking about Bill Buckner and Chris Webber. I just think.
Oh, Russell's is just as bad as those.
Ooh.
Super Bowl, you're about to win, and he hands a win to Tom Brady. You're about to beat Brady and Belichick, Pearl. This is right up there with the all-time sports gaffes.
But there was nothing dumb about it, though. Like, it wasn't.
Well, yeah, it's not the Leon Lett play. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's just Bill Buckner wasn't a gaffe. That was just he misplayed the ball.
So you guys think Bill Buckner and Russell Wilson? Okay. I just don't see it that way at all. I feel like Bill Buckner's gaffe is like, you'll have a TV episode about it.
Well, honestly, I think Buckner's even a little bit more defensible because he was out there hurt.
Also, give Belichick and those guys credit for practicing that play.
I was gonna say, I think you probably don't give it as much because you think it's a great play by Butler,
Malcolm Butler.
Whereas, like, it was not a great play by Mookie Wilson.
Yeah, it was just a roller up.
Yeah, it was a terrible hit. Obviously,
behind the bag.
So I think that's probably what changes it.
855-212-4227. Rich is in California. Rich, what do you got, sir?
Minnesota Vikings, a gentleman by the name of Jim Marshall.
Yeah.
Desperate need of GPS.
We went to the wrong end zone? Scored the wrong way, right, Jim Marshall? That's what you're talking about?
Ran to the wrong end zone.
It's the funniest. I feel bad. It's the funniest highlight.
But he was a good player, too, right?
2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
It's part of the Purple People Eaters.
Yeah. Never won a Super Bowl. Got to probably 4.
Is he in the Hall of Fame?
No, not in the Hall of Fame.
Okay.
But he had double-digit sack seasons in 4 of the seasons. He also is like the NFL Iron Man, I think. He never missed a game in like 20 years.
That's amazing. Rich, thank you.
He gets more remembered as for that gaffe than being like a guy who played defensive end in the 60s and 70s and never missed a game.
Yeah.
Not only was he a star, he never missed a game, and we still remember him from running the wrong way.
That is, and this is not a disrespect to Jim Marshall, but it's always so funny when that happens. You'll see it sometimes in lower levels, like in a basketball court, where all of a sudden someone will inbound the ball in the backcourt. It's like, I got all this space.
We got to play the radio call of that later because the call is awesome.
The Jim Marshall call?
Oh, my gosh. It's so amazing. They're like, no, he's going the wrong way. He doesn't know. What's he doing? He just threw the ball in the end zone, but he doesn't realize he ran the wrong way. It's a safety. It's awesome.
Man, have you guys ever also seen the movie Trains, Planes, and Automobiles?
No.
Yeah, definitely. I watched it. Wait, the Steve Martin, John Candy movie?
Yeah.
I watched it this weekend.
Right.
I cried at the last scene, as always.
Of course. It's a Thanksgiving movie, right? And they're driving the wrong way on the highway. And so people are screaming at them, you're going the wrong way. You're going wrong the way. And John Candy looks to Steve Martin and goes, how do they know where we're going? And Steve Martin goes, yeah, how do they know? then an oncoming truck comes. Anyway, hilarity ensues. 855-212-4227. Okay, coming up, major drama in San Francisco. Also major drama with Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles. Oh boy, what's in the water lately? We'll get to that next. MVP.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
There's the snap. Oh, it was almost blocked, and it was! It was blocked. The punt was blocked by Dallas. The ball bouncing to the 45. Recovered at the 46. Dallas has got it. No, Cincinnati recovered. Cincinnati recovered.
They're saying a Cowboy down the field hit the football.
Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner trying to sift through what was a wild play at the end of the game. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Thank you, Westwood One. It was inside the 2-minute warning where all of a sudden you're thinking the Cowboys have a shot. They block a punt, but it goes in beyond the line of scrimmage, Perloff, which means now it's just a regular old punt. So if the receiving team touches it, that means it's a live ball. It was juggled a little bit. Cincinnati Bengals come away with it. Cincinnati Bengals score a few plays later on a beautiful Jamar Chase touchdown from Joe Burrow, and it's a win for the Bengals.
Yeah, the whole game I'm watching this, I'm like, are the Bengals actually going to blow this game? I mean, they had They moved the ball at will in the first half. They just had one bad pick. I don't know how they made that such a close game because the Cowboys had no offense except for Rico Dowdle.
Yeah.
Like Cooper Rush couldn't do anything. It was a bizarre game. I credit the Cowboys for even making it that close. If they had recovered that punt and gotten a field goal to go 23-20.
Yeah, they would have been in field goal range, by the way, for Brandon Aubrey, who's actually been one of the best kickers in the league, hands down.
Bengals had 3 timeouts. Do you think the Bengals would have come down and scored? Because it felt like when Joe Burrow just wanted to turn it on, he could turn it on.
Well, I think the Cowboys, I don't know how many timeouts the Bengals had at that point. Did they have all three?
I think both teams had all three.
Okay, so, obviously you're going to try to get a first down by running the ball.
Nah, they hadn't had a first down in about 9 minutes of game time.
Well, that's when you need your best plays, Mike McCarthy. So if that had happened, obviously you're trying to bleed as much clock as humanly possible. Get a first down, make the Cincinnati Bengals burn all their timeouts, and then kick the field goal.
Right, but you're not going to pass because you're trying to burn clock. So you're probably not going to get very far. I think it would have been really interesting because I felt like somebody gives smelling sauce to Zach Taylor and tell you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and you're throwing about 1,000 7-yard outs to Yeshivash and Gesicki. I thought it was the Bengals they only scored for most of the second half. They only scored 3 points. They really they kind of got tongue-tied by this Cowboys defense. That Parsons started to really get after Joe Burrow. Burrow had to put a knee brace on.
Yep.
It got kind of an ugly game, and I totally give credit to Mike McCarthy for keeping them in the game by being so sort of conservative and making an ugly game and getting after Burrow. I think it played out exactly how the Cowboys wanted until that play.
Until the block punt. I gave a little more credit, I think, to Mike Zimmer because they were getting pressure on Burrow. Now, the stat sheet will tell you Burrow and Jamar Chase had another unbelievable outing. 14 receptions on 18 targets for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, Chase is it. T. Higgins, 2 receptions on 5 targets for 23 yards and no touchdowns. So Burrow and Chase are fine. I thought that the Cowboys defense did play very well. Demarion Overshawn got hurt in the midway through the fourth quarter, and they're saying that might not be good with a knee injury. So you're hurting for that guy because he has so much promise. But I thought the defense showed up, and you mentioned it. Joe Burrow with a brace on his knee. Yeah. I'm going to say something that I think is a no-brainer for the Bengals, even though they're probably not going to do it. You should shut Joe Burrow down.
It's
immediately.
It's not a bad idea.
Immediately. You're 5-8. The season has been lost.
Well,
There's no reason for Joe Burrow to keep going back out there. Regroup, put Jake Browning out, and live to see next season.
Well, you can't do it now because 9-8 could sneak you into the playoffs. You got to wait till you're mathematically out. I don't think you have to wait that long because I think there's a scenario where the Chargers and the Broncos come down to 9-8. and somehow there's a 4-way tie or something. So you got to be mathematically out.
I mean, okay, so you're going to go at Tennessee, which you probably are going to win.
Right, so then you'll be 6-8, 7-8. Go ahead.
I don't know. I hesitate to give wins just straight up to the Bengals.
Good
do.
point.
I don't
But
know.
all right, squint and you could see it.
Yeah, I mean, they get a little lucky, I guess, with the schedule at Tennessee, Cleveland, although have fun with Myles Garrett, Denver, and then at
so they
Pittsburgh
can knock
to end the
out
season.
Denver. It's not impossible. Dude. I think you have a little problem with the Chargers, and then Pittsburgh, Week 18, hope that Pittsburgh is resting. And by the way, I mean, the Bengals can easily beat the Steelers. There's no doubt about that.
I don't know. I think the Steelers are putting a little not with the Ravens. The Ravens are still really good, but I think it's the Steelers and the Ravens division. And everyone else is just floundering until the end of the year.
But there's no way, that division, you would never count out the Bengals against the Ravens or the Steelers. That'd be crazy. They're definitely going to play to the last second, and it's going to be a close game. But that's the same with Cleveland. All those teams kill each other.
EJ, can we put a poll up on the Dallas side of this? Was last night the nail in the coffin, so to speak, for Mike McCarthy? There was a possibility that Dallas could have caught a wave here of momentum. They were coming off 2 wins, the win against the Commanders, the win against the Giants, and could have rode this thing maybe to the end of the season. Maybe you have an outside chance of getting that last wild card. After last night, though, and just how devastated the Cowboys were in the locker room, Micah Parsons is just beside himself, saying this feels worse than a playoff loss. I mean, everyone took it really hard last night for Dallas, and now it's just a long goodbye.
Maybe a little performative by Mr. Podcaster Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons knows where the cameras are. I don't know. I just felt like Micah was overacting a little bit on the block punt. Dude, you're on the Cowboys. You stink this year. He was acting like they just lost the Super Bowl.
Well, he said that as much. Here's Micah Parsons, has no words for the loss.
You can't put that in words, bro, to be honest.
All right, more from Micah Parsons, says this loss was worse than a playoff loss.
This one hurt me more than any loss this year. Probably even worse than a playoff loss, to be honest. Because where we were going, how we were playing, playing good football.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All right,
Yeah. I mean, he's right. They are definitely that. Now that defense is healthy, he's we're awesome. Why can't the rest of the team catch up to us?
That's a ridiculous statement from him.
I mean, the season is
he said last
off the rails. You don't have a quarterback right now.
But he did say last week, we're an awesome unit. We're going to carry this team to the playoffs. He was pretty specific about it. And he's right.
Then why Joe Burrow throw for 300 and whatever yards?
I mean, that's first of all, because Cooper Rush was so ineffective. The fact that they kept the Bengals in check was pretty good. I mean, how many times? Is this one of the Bengals' worst offensive performances in a while? Don't the Bengals score 38 points every week?
To be fair, though, to Cooper Rush, who I did not think played well last night. I thought Mike McCarthy put too much on Cooper Rush, quite frankly. But they did have 2 drives in the second half when this is an extremely tight game. One that went for 8 plays and 4.5 minutes, and another went for 13 plays in about 7 minutes. So they were trying to eat some clock with some long drives, and then all of a sudden it just dried up. It was just over.
I just feel like if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan and you lived through what happened against the Packers, and you lived through what happened against the Niners twice, and you lived through these playoff losses where that guy's been on the field, and he tells you a Week 13 game where your team is 3 games below 500, that this was worse than those playoff blowouts, some of them at home, I'd be like, this guy needs his head examined. Yeah. Now, I would take some ownership in that. Okay, the fact this guy's playing this hard, the fact that this season's over, I would take something in that. I don't think that's nothing. I think he deserves credit for that.
He played like a beast.
Yeah, he was awesome. But come on, dude. Those fans lived and died with those losses. Are you saying this random game that nobody cares about is worse than a playoff loss? Give me a break.
Well, because the other part too, where it kind of falls a little bit short, is it kind of feels like he was saying I'll lead you. Dak's hurt. Here I am. I'm going to lead everybody. And while that's admirable to do, it's because you came up short this time and Dak Prescott isn't there to take all the blame. Now this is worse or something like that.
It looks like this game meant more to him than those games because I watched those playoff games where they were getting run over and he was a non-factor. This game, he was definitely a factor. He almost single-handedly took Joe Burrow out of the game. I don't know. I just, again, I think about him as a leader and thinking about him as being the guy leading the troops. I'm like, okay, good luck, Dallas. That's your voice of the team.
Well, also, he's been criticized for being too light after losses, so I think that was part of this.
Oh, you think he was overcompensating?
I totally do. I think he's been, people are like, and also too, he like openly roots for the Eagles on his podcast, which is so funny. I mean, he's obsessed with Philly. I love that about him. But I think that people think he's too light. He's too like joking around is like, why, your team's in the middle of the playoff hunt. Why are you spending so much energy being a personality? But that's just who he is. He's been a talker since his Penn State days. Like I mean, I think this is good. This is the Micah Parsons you want to see because I don't think everyone takes him totally seriously, right? I mean, like, how TJ Watt looks like he wants to murder your grandmother every play?
Yeah.
I don't feel like Micah Parsons has that vibe.
But he plays so well, and he's, so effective that obviously, you take, like, of course, he'll be a big personality, but at times it can wear thin for sure. Okay, but Micah Parsons, we know, isn't going anywhere. No matter how much Perloff thinks that there's some fantasy where Micah Parsons is going to say, I want to come to the Eagles. It's not happening.
He'll definitely be an Eagle at some point.
Okay.
I'm positive, but it'll probably be after he's washed up. But go ahead.
Okay, well, good luck with all that.
It was like a Von Miller signing.
Yes, and that one has been particularly painful for me, so thanks for bringing it up. But Mike McCarthy's future in Dallas is obviously way murkier. Now, here is Jerry Jones. Manny, can I hear cut 15, please? Here is Jerry Jones asked about Mike McCarthy after the game.
Mike is an outstanding coach. He has an outstanding record. He's got great experience. A lot of what he's about, some of the benefits that we're having out there, we're gaining from the type coach that he is.
See, this is if I'm a Cowboy fan, I feel gaslit by Jerry. Because if he's this great coach and you respect him and you should, and he's a Super Bowl winner and all that, Perloff, then why is he coaching without a contract for next year? You love him so much, you're not sure whether you want him after this season. That's the whole part of this. It's like you can say a million nice things about Mike McCarthy, but your actions speak way louder than words here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys fan, and I'm going to put myself in the shoes of a Cowboy fan, is more worried that Jerry's going to bring him back. Forget like the gaslighting or the messaging. Like, I think you're a Cowboy fan. I mean, have we ever had a Cowboy fan call in and say, man, I hope they build around Mike McCarthy. They all want him gone. So isn't that your biggest fear?
Yeah, but I wonder if Dak Prescott saying he wants him back and everyone in the, you mentioned Troy Aikman last night really putting it on for Mike McCarthy. Does that sway a Cowboy fan? You think, hey, listen, these guys have seen mediocre coaching with Jason Garrett. Dak was there with Jason Garrett. He knows what this is like. Troy Aikman certainly, I mean, maybe he's just doing the company line thing, but I don't think so. I think they legitimately think Mike McCarthy's a good offensive coach.
They kept Jason Garrett for a decade, Maggie. Like that, I'm sorry, like why are we overthinking it? It's history repeating itself.
Well, here's another question. You asked this earlier, and I don't have an answer for you, which is who could be the next head coach? If they do get rid of Mike McCarthy, if Bill Belichick, is not an actual candidate because he would overshadow Jerry or what have you, and it looks like Belichick is kind of serious about this North Carolina thing. When are we going to believe this, or is this just Belichick trying to get some interest and maybe get some teams to move with a little more urgency on the NFL side? Give him a call.
Yeah, it's week 14, though, and there are a lot of, you really can't, except for, unless you fire your coach, can you really give him a call and negotiate right now?
You can back channel.
I want him, honestly, the team that I think that would be the best fit for him, who's most ready for Jerry Jones, is the Dallas Cowboys, and I just don't think that's going to happen.
For Belichick.
Yeah, for Belichick. Oh, sorry, right. Because I think Jerry Jones is like, this is the team. Bill Belichick, think of his options, like North Carolina. Like, what are you going to achieve there? What's the point of that? Unless you're going to win a national title, and that seems like a very tall task. You have to go back to the NFL. You have to get the wins record, and you have to go to a team that has a lot of talent that could win something. You can't go to the Jags. So I just think that this is all insanity for Bill Belichick. Like North Carolina, how? Why?
I know. We'll get more into that because I just don't think that Jerry is not going to be like, I don't think he's going to be sped up on this decision. I don't think he's going to be, forced into anyone else's timeline. He doesn't do that.
But the longer you wait, the more likely they'll bring back McCarthy. Like the longer you settle in, it'll get farther away from the losses. There are excuses. I mean, the injuries are excuses. You can't ignore that. I mean, Dak's not there.
Yeah, but what about the playoff losses? Where were the injuries then?
Well, actually, it's probably their best advantages. They're not going to get blown out in the playoffs this year. That might be Mike McCarthy's out.
Because they're not going to be in the playoffs. Where?
Yeah, kind of like SMU almost got kicked out of the 12-team playoff because they went into the conference title game. Yeah, I think this is like, I got to tell you, Mike McCarthy's not going to blow in the playoffs this year. I mean, if they'd won last night, then he probably would have, but.
Brilliant strategy. You can't blow it in the playoffs if you don't make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows how that works.
Wow. I didn't think about that. Diabolical. 855-212-4227. We will get to the Niners drama, one of the close rivals of the Cowboys dealing with their own situation. And same with the Eagles. Dallas, this could have been the year. You could have taken advantage of some other teams actually having these like really bizarre situations this late into the season. 2 wide receivers, both disgruntled, both after wins. If you want a little snippet of how things are going for the 49ers and the Eagles, we'll get to all that next. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly serves the Armed Forces, DoD, veterans, and their families. Their members are the mission. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. I mentioned it yesterday. It's got to be Vikings cornerback / safety Byron Murphy for that one-handed interception.
Ooh, that was amazing.
That jumped out when I actually saw the play. I'm like, EJ's going to go with that as the Defensive Player of the Week. There are a lot of big defensive efforts. Do you have a nomination?
I was trying to think if EJ would have gone to the college football playoff championship weekend. Am I close, or did you pick NFL? No?
I mean, you got to guess a player. It can't just be... Did you pick a player within 3 games that were played on Saturday? I mean, come on, that narrows it down a little bit.
Someone from Arizona State. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have anyone this week.
All right, so this week's Defensive Player of the Week is Michael Williams.
You know, I knew you were going to go Michael Williams. Was he that good, though?
I mean, what do you mean?
He's definitely undersized. There were a couple players I was watching because he's obviously such a big draft prospect. I'm not so sold on that guy.
I love how Perloff was ready to already argue the pick before it was even made.
I knew you were going
to pick the guy because he has the numbers and he played well and Texas' offense was completely shut down.
Yeah.
But I'm going to already argue the pick. I mean, only Perloff.
No, I think Perloff already I bet if we got a clear look at Perloff's drafts of the tweets that he has not sent, I bet one of them is he really good?
Well, first of all, I'm kind of obsessed with the 2 ends on Georgia. They're amazing, but the difference is that they don't have 5 pros behind them, so eventually they wear down. Like, I don't trust Georgia. I know they played well in this game, but do you really trust Michael Williams, or what's the other guy's name?
Jalen Walker.
Jalen Walker, yeah. Why are they consistently awesome? Explain that to me, EJ.
I think some of it is their run defense isn't that great. You mentioned the secondary, but I actually think some of it is actually the run defense. People being able to run on Georgia. We saw Haynes King run on Georgia. We've seen Jalen Milroe.
That's really what I was going to do. It was the Haynes King. So you have 2 top 15 picks on your defensive line, and you get blasted by Georgia Tech.
Well, these guys are just flying up the field. I mean, these guys are just they're like Ferraris coming off the edge. They're not even trying to stop the run. And maybe that's a Kirby Smart issue, really not necessarily these guys' issue. But in this game where Quinn Ewers is a statue, he was in a lot of trouble. They had 6 sacks in this game, and Michael had 2, so therefore he's the Defensive Player of the Week. Also one of my favorite players in college football. So
awesome. But by the way, you also get to be I think a lot of people watch that game and be like, wow, is Texas any good? Does anybody believe in Quinn Ewers in Texas?
Listen, you could have been making a case for Texas that you made for a lot of other teams, or criticisms rather, of who do they beat. And I know it's the SEC, so no one will say that, but really their best win is against A&M, and A&M's not – I don't even think A&M finished ranked, did they? Maybe they did, but it's A&M – the air kind of went out of A&M.
Yeah, I think that people are worried and people are wondering. I heard a lot of, where is Arch? Ewers does not look good right now. You might as well have Arch running the ball. I know you mentioned yesterday, it was a good point. Let's not get Arch blown up all the time, but still, he's a college quarterback. Quinn Ewers plays like a backup pocket quarterback. He looked like Cooper Rush. He's not doing anything. He's not moving. It's going to make Texas very vulnerable in every game in this playoff.
This is why yesterday we had to pick an upset yesterday of the first 4 games, and mine is Clemson.
Yeah.
Going to Austin and upsetting Texas. I think they're vulnerable right now.
I think this is one of the worst matchup Texas could have got, because if there's anything Clemson can do, it is rush the passer, and their defensive line is tough. I mean, they were giving Jennings hell for those first few drives before he kind of settled in.
Yep.
If Texas, typically they've protected Ewers very well, except against Georgia. There's any team that can kind of replicate some of what Georgia does is probably Clemson of these teams that are playing in this first round.
Listen, there's also a case that maybe Georgia just really has Texas's number
Could
because they've looked just particularly vulnerable against that team. But I think you guys are not talking about the biggest story, and I know he hasn't had the season anyone thought he would, but the Carson Beck injury is massive. I think Gunnar Stockton is probably good enough to win this first round. Well, they have a bye. But
massive in a positive or a negative way for Georgia?
I don't know because I don't know.
I mean, come on. Carson Beck had 55 yards at half.
Listen, I was saying, why didn't we see Gunnar Stockton a month and a half ago? I get it, but there's some interesting headlines coming up that he's trying to figure out. Beck, that is trying to figure out treatment options because his elbow is so messed up. And to be honest, as far as his future is concerned, a bad elbow or a potential future elbow surgery for a quarterback just knock another round off of his draft.
No one trusts Carson Beck. No. Nobody does. So I don't think that's the major story. I think Arch looming over Quinn Ewers is a big part of this. I think you mentioned it yesterday, Oregon's tough draw is a big part of this.
Yep.
I'm not hearing a lot about, is Carson Beck healthy? It's weird.
Well, you're talking about Georgia, so I brought it up their quarterback.
No. I'm actually saying, to me, it's a story that it's not a bigger story. I just think, Georgia is really the second favorite in this whole field. Their side of the bracket is easy. Georgia should go all the way through. But at the end of the day, either Carson Beck's going to be hurt or we don't trust Carson Beck. Otherwise, they have a very easy path here. That half of the bracket, it's not tough, Maggie. I mean, you're scared of James Franklin and Penn State?
No. Speaking of which, though, we will have Paul Posluszny is scheduled to join the show a little later on. Talk about linebacker U, Penn State great, two-time All-American, getting into the National Football Foundation's Hall of Fame this weekend.
Oh, that's nice.
There you go. He's already in the college football.
What was one of his NFL teams?
Oh, he's a Buffalo Bills draft pick.
Yeah, so let's not pretend. Let's not tease the Penn State part. Why is he really on the show?
That's why he's coming on the show. But no, do you want to talk about the Bills from that era? I wouldn't even bring it up to him. I wouldn't. It's so dark. Those are some of the worst teams. Not him. He was great. But those were some of the worst teams ever fielded by professional franchises.
Yeah, I saw many 51 jerseys over the weekend.
Oh, I'm sure, man. He was in Buffalo this weekend. Nothing but love for Paul Posluszny. He tried. What's he going to do? He can't stop. It's 1 on 11.
Wait, so he wasn't there for Rob Johnson, Doug Flutie? I have no idea what year it is.
No, he's my age.
What year was that? 2001?
That was 2000.
I don't think Paul Posluszny was at Penn State when Rob Johnson was playing quarterback for.
2000 was the Music City Miracle.
He played sometime in the 2000s, right?
Rob might have still kept playing, but not for the Bills. 2000 was the Music City Miracle. Now we're just going back through Bills' bad history. And to be honest, it got way worse from there.
What was Bruce Smith like?
And unfortunately,
was I that far?
Was there for it.
I was that far off of Paul Posluszny?
Paul Posluszny he was drafted by the Bills in 07.
Wow. And what year did Doug? Yeah, so we missed them by 2 years, right?
No, by 8 years.
When did Rob Johnson finally leave there?
It was 8 years.
It was at least 5. At least 5 or 6. I mean, Dick Duran was the head coach. Imagine going from Joe Paterno, who I know's legacy is very different now, obviously, but Joe Paterno, one of the longest tenured, winningest, stable. Then you go to the Bills. Here's Dick Duran for you.
When you told me that Dick Duran was coaching the Bills and that he got a second chance, I was like, oh, Maggie, I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's not even the worst of it.
You deserve Josh Allen just for dealing with a second tenure of Dick Duran.
What?
That's crazy.
Wait, sorry. Again, I feel Dick Duran was not a great coach, but he wasn't a laughingstock, was he?
No, but that's the whole thing. It was just middling coach after middling coach after middling coach. If you want to talk Dallas Cowboy fans, you want to talk about Chan Gailey? And that was a bright spot because he beat Belichick once.
Dick Duran has a 42% win percentage.
Right.
And that was with a 13-win season one year.
Right, so
one unicorn year he had the Bears. He won 13 games.
Yeah, but I don't oh my God, Dick Duran. It's not Urban Meyer with the Jags. So
well,
just so
okay, but that can't be the bar here. He's just bad.
He was also there for 4 years.
Dick Duran to Chan Gailey to Doug Marrone to Mike Mularkey. It was bad.
That's a rough stretch.
Sorry, that was down in the Jacksonville. I was looking at Paul's, doing research for Paul, all of the coaches he played for. Rough.
That's rough. I'm sorry.
Again,
you deserve Josh Allen for that.
Yeah, I feel but that was Like Doug Marrone was okay, right? Wasn't he? These are all like
Doug
okay.
Marrone quit on the Bills on New Year's Eve because he had some handshake deal to go coach the freaking Jets, and it fell apart because of like Manish Mehta. Now we're going into some deep cuts here. You guys are really opening up a scab. Like, dude, please don't. I don't want to do this today. I'm excited that Paul's coming on the show with us later.
Doug Marrone, 2 winning seasons, not bad.
38% win percentage.
Yeah, he was.
And what's he most known for? Taking the Jags to the conference championship game, having a lead on Belichick, and they blew it.
15-17 is a Bills.
Don't even play it, Manny. Stop it. It's already bad enough that I got to now Sean McDermott, who is the best coach since Marv Levy to coach the Bills, but cannot coach his way out of a paper bag if there's inside 2 minutes.
They've been trying to get him out of here.
And I will continue to say that. And again, Belichick they keep going down the path with Belichick in North Carolina, and I'm getting very nervous that the Bills are going to blow their shot of getting Belichick because I think he's the only person who can clean up this stuff at the end of games and not waste more Josh Allen amazing outings.
The Bills losing out on Bill Belichick to North Carolina football would be hilarious.
Listen,
Sorry, Maggie.
they're not like looking now. It'd be very monumental for them to move on from McDermott, but you've got some major evidence, another data point in LA last.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Sunday
are they even considering Bill Belichick?
They should be because there's no other coach that we know of that is good at end of game situations like Belichick.
So that was Belichick again, and we talked about this last night. Belichick was a great end of game coach. I mean, he had the Malcolm Butler play, but he also blew some.
I mean, his defenses they used to close out quarterbacks all the time.
Yeah, Brady. I mean,
I'm talking about on defense. I try to take out. I know the Brady drives. I'm not going to necessarily give him credit for that. I think that's fair. But I was talking about their defense as a Jet fan, and I'm sure Maggie's Bills. She can talk about a bunch of games. Like his defense closed the show on a lot of teams.
I just think Andy Reid still to this day has no idea what's going on in the last 2 minutes. And when you have Mahomes, you win all those close games.
I know, but that's just because Andy Reid's blood sugar is low.
By the
end of the game, he needs
even last week,
nuggies.
Even last week, he was looking around as the clock was winding down. He was like, I'm not really quite sure what to do here. But, I don't know if Belichick's your answer. Because you have a great offense with Joe Brady right now. Like you just have to sort of get a few more dudes on defense.
Here's the thing. The offense was good with Dable. The offense wasn't actually terrible with Ken Dorsey. He just had to get up and out of there because he's not a good play caller. And the offense is good with Joe Brady. What's the one thing they all have in common? Josh Allen. The offense is going to be fine.
But they're controlling the ball now, though.
Yeah.
They're not turning it over. Like they're really setting everything up for success. It can't stop the run at all.
The offense, I'm actually not worried about. They've got the blueprint here. And that's more about the general manager putting the right guys on the team, to me, and not getting away from the run. It's an easy assignment.
By the way, Andrew Kaplan says Bill Belichick didn't do so well in Miami during the Gronk play. Remember when he left Gronk on defense?
Yeah, okay. But
I don't know.
Belichick's got 40 years in this thing,
Did you see the last year of the Patriots? Like, every game situation that could be a disaster was a disaster. He's 72 years old. I don't know that he still has his end-of-game fastball, Maggie.
Okay, but Kyle Shanahan, okay?
Terrible at end-of-games.
Okay, but great coach. Mike Vrabel, I don't know if we have a thought on him either way about this. These are hard to come by. For this, and now we're just talking about the Bills, but this specific thing that they're dealing with, which is Sean McDermott getting tight at the end of games, there's not an easy answer for who's out there as far as strategists who can help you here. So, yeah, the pool's going to be shallow because I don't know if Ben Johnson has any clue about end-of-game stuff.
There's no way they're hiring
Cliff
Ben Johnson.
Kingsbury. Like, what are we talking about in terms of this coaching cycle?
You're 10-3. You're not firing your coach.
But it's a pattern. It's a pattern of end-of-game situations.
Yeah, I know. But even last year, like when things were not going well, you were right there with the Chiefs at the end of a game, too. Just like they weren't even great last year, and McDermott carried them, I think, towards the end into the playoffs.
We're talking about Kyle Shanahan, and there's an idea that maybe things could be coming to an end or something in San Francisco. It's the same thing. You've got a team that's close, and you keep losing in these terrible ways, and you can point to the coach making bad decisions to put your team in a bad spot. It's just the reality of what is going on when the bar is this high. So that's it.
Yeah, I feel like you're going to take a major step back if you get rid of McDermott for the wrong guy. Like, especially Belichick. That's a big risk.
Scared money don't make money.
A big risk, Maggie.
Can't just be scared of the outcome if you actually feel like your general manager understands the mission and has a good beat on some of the candidates. Bogusch is here with headlines for us on this very busy Tuesday.
These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. Hey, boys. Amani Oruwariye is the Cowboy that touched the block punt late on Monday Night Football. Had he just left it alone, it would have been Dallas's ball with under 2 minutes to go with a chance to win the game, but he tried to corral the bouncer. It went off his arm. The Bengals recovered, then scored the winning points 50 seconds later on Jamar Chase's second TD catch of the night. Jordan Lewis, one of the Cowboys who shielded Oruwariye from the media postgame.
We just can just support him because none of us played a perfect game, honestly, and we can't judge anybody by one decision. He thought he could make a play, and can't blame him from that. All we can do is learn from it and support him as a teammate.
Now, before and after the special teams gaffe, the Cowboys could not contain Chase. 14 catches, 177 yards, and 2 scores on 18 targets. They also made questionable play calls that led to that punt. And now Mike McCarthy's team is 5-8.
Just do the math. Obviously, we're not even back to even. We're still in the hole. We need a tremendous amount of help. Just being Captain Obvious here. So, it's just one of the things we had to have this one.
And they didn't get it. Again, the Bengals, meanwhile, improved to 5-8 by snapping a 3-game skid. I'm assuming they're doing this for our entertainment. The Browns will continue starting Jameis Winston, even though their season is lost. They could audition 2023 fifth-round pick Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but Kevin Stefanski said yesterday the goal remains winning as much as possible.
But victory comes from the Lord.
You guys just mentioned this. Georgia QB Carson Beck injured his right elbow in Saturday's SEC title game. There is no timetable yet for his return as he explores treatment options. If there's only one game in the league and you do this, are you the best player in the league?
6 to shoot. Towns, left wing 3. Got it! Karl Anthony Towns with the dagger. 6.3 to go. He puts the Knicks up 113-108 and then sticks the New York on the front of his jersey out to the Toronto crowd who's heading for the exits.
The Mets just signed Karl Anthony Towns
Monica for laughing.
Oh, that's not Manny? That wasn't a live giggle at the end?
He stopped off in Toronto before he came to Buffalo. Came from Buffalo.
Karl Anthony, why didn't you stay there for a Knicks game, dude?
Passport was expired.
Karl Anthony Towns, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists in New York's 113-108 win. In Toronto, the Knicks have won 5 of their last 6.
Damn right.
Men's college hoops, Tennessee's number 1 in the new AP poll since Kansas lost twice last week. The Jayhawks now 10th. Those Vols last number 1 during the 18-19 campaign. Meanwhile, third-ranked Iowa State has its highest ranking since the late 50s. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said yesterday it's highly unlikely Shohei Ohtani pitches when they open their season in Japan in March. And we got a hockey trade yesterday. The Avalanche need a goalie, so they get Mackenzie Blackwood from the Sharks for struggling goalie Alexander Georgiev, a player, and 2 draft picks.
Totally called that one. You got to go Blackwood.
You knew that?
Yes.
Yeah, you were on that.
Big Mac.
There you go.
Wasn't Mackenzie Blackwood a Ranger?
He was a Devil, I think.
All right.
That's a great name.
You don't like Alexander Georgiev?
Mackenzie Blackwood could be a football player. It's like
or like
SEC
a country
singer.
Yeah.
I could see that. Have his own brand of whiskeys or something.
Sounds like a corporate made-up name for a whiskey, right?
Like AI made up a whiskey name. I saw a great tweet from someone yesterday, a comedian talking about what to buy gifts for men this time of year. Hold on. Filibuster for me for 1 second.
Hey, by the way, that Ohio State is the highest ranked Ohio State's been since...
Iowa State.
Oh, Iowa State.
Iowa State.
Okay.
I thought you said Ohio State.
Great filibuster.
Fact check you there.
This is from our pal Ian Carmel, the comic and big celebrity, writes for late night shows and big Portland guy, said every gift guide for men is like a flannel flask to hold your knife-flavored whiskey. It is so hard sometimes to buy gifts for men. It really is.
Because you guys are easy?
Yeah, man. What?
Yes, because we talked about this when Perloff was going through this with his wife for, what was it, your anniversary?
Yeah, I think Maggie's right on this one.
Massages, it's always
Earrings.
your default go-to.
You said no to 47 suggestions.
But they were all good suggestions. Like, you guys really came up with great ones. That's just Perloff being, like, indecisive. But you had all these great ones. You guys are hard to buy for.
Gift
You get
cards.
clothes. Like, do you really want clothes?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
maybe something from the NBA
But I want to
store.
pick out my own. Like, you don't want somebody else picking out your clothes.
No, listen, I've been with my wife since like 2000. So we're on birthdays, Valentine's Day, anniversaries,
This is back to the Rob
Christmases.
Johnson era.
Like I've used all of these ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And she refuses to like I would love to just give her a list of 6 things. Like, get me 4 of them and I'm happy.
Like, what do you want? I'm actually curious. People ask me what I want for Christmas. I have no idea.
Yeah, what do you buy? What do you want? Because I
Yeah,
never
you
know
got
what to
this
buy for my
list.
husband.
Yeah, I want some. I'm big into loungewear now. I need some joggers. I got a couple of hoodies.
Yeah,
I got my
joggers.
eye on.
I like a nice pair of joggers. It'll cost you $120.
Well,
now.
that's the other part.
Wait,
of
are you
it.
talking about like athleisure?
I don't want to. Am I allowed to name brands? Like, I want some Viore stuff, but it's too expensive. So I was like, can I? Maybe Santa will bring it, but even Santa's like, this is too expensive.
Santa's like, screw you and your
yeah,
list.
even Santa's got a budget.
Wait, but you're literally wearing a hoodie today. You want another
I
hoodie?
want more. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, but
Everyone's wearing a hoodie today.
Not me.
Not EJ.
I'm a no sleeves guy. Braving the cold elements.
I have my family buy me Runner's Warehouse gift cards. So because running shoes are so darn expensive these days.
I know, but
like I want to knock that expense out.
I know, and I like gift cards, but there's a lot of people who think gift cards are a grift. You know, and
Right, they
people
totally
lose them and stuff like that.
You don't spend all
Wait,
of
you
it.
give a gift card to your partner?
Oh, I love them.
Oh, okay.
My wife doesn't. By the way, doesn't even get me anything for the holidays. Because we have the same bank account. Like, what's the point?
Yeah,
we've
my
had that
husband doesn't
conversation
do that
too.
either.
Yeah. Like at this point, when you've married long enough, like gifts, like because if she bought me something, I'll be like, well, nah, I'm gonna have to find that money to pay for it now. Yeah.
So I've run into the issue with my fiance because her birthday's tomorrow. So I usually do experiences.
Yeah.
But what happens if she's busy literally every day? Like this has been a back and forth thing now for like a week. Where I'm like, hey, what are you doing this day? Oh, I'm meeting friends. Hey, what are you doing this way? Oh, I'm teaching yoga. Oh, well, I got a yoga workshop. And now it's become like a thing where she's like, can you just tell me what you want to do? And therefore,
EJ,
I can do it. I'm like, no, I want to surprise you with an experience. But
Nick's
you
fantasy
gotta tell
camp.
me, you got to tell me, give me a day.
The trip to Toronto to watch RJ Barrett. Here's
Milwaukee in January.
Telling you,
This
that's
is-
going to come soon if you can't figure this out.
I'm going to give you a life hack here that you can have way earlier than I had, and I wish I'd had it sooner. And this
Taking
is
notes.
It's a very 2024 type of thing, but I'm assuming Perloff has it, and I would bet that Bogusch has this too.
Only 3 weeks left to cash in.
No, this is not about a gift. You got to get a shared calendar.
Yeah.
Well, that's
It's got to happen, dude. It will happen once if you guys go down the road of having kids and stuff like that. But just because you can't keep track of literally every birthday party and every swim lesson and all that stuff, you got to get a shared calendar.
Yeah. I mean, anyone who said the romance is dead in the Gray household, once you share your Google Calendar, that's hot.
That hit too home. We may or may not have had our last fight over Google Calendars and whether or not I should be on one.
I'm telling you, dude, save yourself and get on.
Do you know what guys are not on Google Calendars? Like 70% of us do. Like that is
Trying
not
to
like how the
explain
male
that,
brain
but
works.
it's not working.
Oh, my husband
Yeah.
loves the Google Calendar. It was
Your
basically
your
his
husband's
idea.
an engineer.
Yeah, that's true. Yes,
Most
he's
of
the,
us
he's
are
the
just
left
like,
brain of this.
Well, I need to know what's happening in 15 minutes. Anything like farther out than that, I just zone out on.
Yeah, we have one. I don't put things on it, so I get yelled at for that. When I'm like, oh, I have a game tonight, or I've got something, and she's like, we have a calendar for this. Do we?
Oh my God.
Yeah, since like 2017.
Yeah, men are not good at that kind of stuff.
No, like I'm looking at it right now, and 98% of the December entries are not from me.
My fiance has she literally, I do not know why you cannot just put things in a calendar. And I'm
asking.
It just
It
doesn't
makes your
compute.
life easier. And you'd have her day that you know when she's got a free evening.
So she can be Othello Harrington.
I actually thought about taking her to Othello, but that's like next year.
Can I also say something? This is going to sound a little mean, but she likes experiences. So you get something out of her presence too, it sounds like. Sounds like the present is half for EJ, half for the fiance.
I took her to Mean Girls. I took her to...
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not something I would do.
But you should.
I'm glad I did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But like, I took her to a Britney Spears Broadway show. Like,
oh, okay.
I mean, these are not like, this is not.
It's not Iron Man.
It's not seeing Othello Harrington as. Which I would definitely
beating
choose.
Othello Harrington.
Or Al Harrington. Shoot. I mean, let's just run him down.
Any Harrington.
Al Harrington. He's probably walking around this neighborhood. All right. Well, can we put that as a poll? Do you have a shared Google Calendar with your partner? 855-212-4222. Your spouse? Should be more, partner, spouse, whatever.
It's the opposite of romance.
Listen, sometimes it's not about romance.
Are
It's
you
about,
scheduling
did you
the
get
romance?
to Taekwondo in time?
Yeah, well, if that's on your calendar, then I'm
free
down.
at Tuesday, 4:30. What are your thoughts?
Ooh, afternoon delay. 855-212-4227. All right, lots more to do. Drama, more drama with wide receivers coast to coast. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Oh, and Bogusch sits at his desk, dreaming of ways to lay Perloff to rest. He's smiling wide, but behind those eyes, there's a plot for revenge he just can't disguise. Perloff, oh Perloff, you drive me insane with your milky white ankle and your constant complaints. One more bad take, and I swear it's the end. You'll regret ever calling me just a friend. Perloff, oh Perloff, you drive me insane with your milky white ankle and your constant complaints. One more bad take, and I swear it's the end. You'll regret ever calling me just a friend.
Corbuccio wipes the bottom of his sneakers. He's guarded by Lawson. Play in action. Corbuccio gets the screen from Ratliff. Corbuccio driving, finds Ratliff, free throw line, Jay, yes! Clock continues to run. Panthers have one final chance. Here's Kennedy. Kennedy with 5, step back, Jay, yes! Oh, Josiah Kennedy! Ice cold! Timeout, Stepanek! Corbuccio wipes the bottom of his sneakers. He's guarded by Lawson.
Maggie's got her trivia cards, she's ready to play. Quizzing the whole crew, it's trivia day.
Oh, my beloved keeper of time, how you cradle my chaos in your orderly arms. With your gentle notifications, you whisper sweet nothings to my soul. A melody of meetings, moments, and milestones, perfectly choreographed. You are are my lighthouse in the storm of forgetfulness, illuminating the path with hues of blue, red, and gold. Every shared event is a vow, every synced reminder, a promise of devotion. Without you, my days would be but a jumbled haze, a cacophony of missed opportunities and forgotten dreams. But with you, oh my darling Google Calendar, life is an exquisite symphony of precision and purpose. When I wake, it's your gentle nudge that greets me, guiding me with grace through the labyrinth of my hours. When I falter, you are my steadfast anchor. Did you?
Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. My motto's always been, when it's right, why wait until the middle of a cold, dark night, when everything's a little clearer.
How do I explain this to the audience who might just be joining us? Welcome to the show. Manny is playing the song Afternoon Delight because we just had a robust conversation about whether or not you have a shared calendar with your partner. Then ask, well, what exactly do you schedule on that shared calendar? Is it everything?
That was
Block
Bogusch.
out time?
Bogusch's question, right?
Do you, first of all, how would you label that? And secondly, how much time are you blocking off?
Yeah, I was kind of claiming that once you decide to share your Google Calendar as a family, like the romance is dead.
I disagree.
I mean, like, listen, when you were dating your husband, it's like, man, I just look into his eyes and say, someday we're going to share a calendar together, and we're gonna plan who's picking up the car from the garage.
Listen, you know as well as I do, the romance being a part of a relationship, and also you intertwine your life with somebody, and if you have kids, it becomes a lot about logistics. That's not a flaw in your marriage or in your relationship. It's just a reality. A lot of it is like, I'm glad I know he's got a lunch today with a friend and is, and it's like, I got to pick up Lucas. Okay. So like, I need to know these things.
The fact that we're talking about scheduling intimacy, this does seem like a flaw to me.
I didn't say we do that.
Well, I said we are. Yeah. I'm just saying that it just feels like, yes, you're right. Of course, especially if you have kids, like logistics are important, but I don't know.
We're
like
paying
EJ,
$55 for a swim lesson. We got to get there.
This started out by EJ talking about he wants to buy a special gift for his fiance for her birthday. And now we're talking about sharing calendars and figure out who's going to drive to the swim lessons. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like this romantic.
Okay, but here's the thing, Perloff. How long you and Sarah been married?
15 years.
Okay, so listen, life sometimes is a little bit more about the X's and O's than about the fairy tale of it. And hopefully you get a little of
the
both.
Jimmys and the Joes.
I was going to say, I don't know where this is going, but it's sometimes about the Tuesday afternoon, not afternoon delight, Manny, but Tuesday afternoon. Like who's getting the kids' soccer practice. Like that's important too.
I know. I'm of course kidding about this. It is incredibly important. It's almost impossible to figure out. By the way,
and you have 2 kids. This is even more.
I don't know if you saw there was a small sense of panic. You probably didn't even notice between 6 and 7 a.m. Eastern with me
this morning.
Yes, because my wife told me 3 times. Do not take the car to work. I need the car. I'm driving to the Bronx for work.
You did
3
it again.
times.
This
3
is not
times.
the first time.
I wake up this morning, walk down to the garage, get the car, zoom off to work, listening to my music in the car. Bop, bop. Like something feels a little bit off. No, it's all good. Then I get the text, 5:40 a.m. You left the car, right?
Oh.
Bro, if you did hang out after the show, I don't know if you want to go back home immediately. You want to chill, get some lunch or something.
I was going to say, what's diametrically opposite of the Bronx? Can you get to?
Queens is honestly pretty much that.
I don't have a map in front of me. You might need the route from that guy who escaped the city.
I actually thought I was this bad. It was such a bad transgression. I'm like, oh my gosh. What if Maggie has to do the show for the first 45 minutes by herself if I drive back to Brooklyn?
I would understand it. If you got to leave right now, I got it.
No, she figured it out. Fortunately, I was in a pure panic mode. And I really laid on this word. I was like, honey, I'm so sorry. This is 100% my fault. Because it was like, it was like the first quarter of the football game. Cooper Rush was like throwing out patterns. I wasn't even paying attention. She's like, you have to leave the car. It's very important for working me tomorrow. I'm like, yeah.
You're
T.
watching
Higgins.
The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Like,
Charlie Brown brain. Wah, 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 wah.
Honestly, I have to make sure I've got two men in my life. I've got my husband and I have my son. And if I don't talk to them with directly making eye contact, like I'm staring into their soul tomorrow.
Yeah.
The car. Leave it.
You might want to use that energy with us, too.
Yes, same.
Be helpful.
EJ, call that booker right now.
Yeah.
I'm staring into your soul. Oh, gosh. All right. Bill Belichick. Wow, this is getting exciting.
You're in a 5-minute break.
How I'd get away with I thought about killing you and how I'd get away with that. I thought about killing you and how I'd get away with that. I thought about killing you and
Says $1 million baby, nah. A movie about boxing, I'll just pass, move along. There was a kid with big dreams in his eyes, wanted to reach for those starry skies. He saved up his change, packed his bag just right, signed up for space camp, aiming for flight. But Maggie Gray, with a smirk so wide, called him Sally Ride on the playground side. Hey there astronaut, where's your rocket to Mars? Guess the spaceship's parked out back by the cars.
I gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever sung?
Sweet Caroline. Bum, bum, bum.
We need to help him out here.
Good time never seems so good.
So good.
I've been inclined bum, 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 to believe
Now you feel
they
it.
never would. Good times never seem so good. So good. I've been inclined.
Now you're feeling it. Let's go.
To believe they never would.
All right. Wow.
Is this now? Bill, make me want to shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Come on now. The Bills are making it happen now. Stand up and come on and shout. Yeah. Come on and shout. Kick it up now. Shout. Bills are making it happen now. Go Josh Allen. Freddie Jackson. Eric Moulds. Makes me want to shout. I can't follow all the lyrics here. Bills. Hey,
Peerless Price.
Hey.
Eagles fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I gotta wait. I know that.
Is this the first time you've ever...
1 minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
There's the snap. Oh, it was almost blocked, and it was! It was blocked. The punt was blocked by Dallas. The ball bouncing to the 45. Recovered at the 46. Dallas has got it. No, Cincinnati recovered. Cincinnati recovered.
They're saying a Cowboy down the field hit the football.
Kevin Harlan, Kurt Warner on Westwood 1. Yep, that's what happened. First play out of the 2-minute warning in a tie football game in Dallas. Looked like maybe the Cowboys were set up to make an all-time play with a block punt, but it goes ahead of the line of scrimmage, so now it just becomes like any other punt, Perloff. And a Cowboy player touched it, and then a Bengals player recovered it, set the Bengals up. They score a touchdown. Burrow to Jamar Chase, of course, 27-20. That's your final score, and that's the season for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, they almost stole a win against a much better team last night because you have Joe Burrow on one side and Cooper Rush on the other. This game shouldn't be close. And the Cowboys, to Mike McCarthy's credit, game managed this one into an actual game, had it won. If this play had just gone a little bit differently, I would have been. We've been talking about right now, like Zach Taylor's a disaster with Cincinnati because you can't. To me, you cannot kill Mike McCarthy for this. Like the only reason they were in this game was because he was able to chew up so much clock with smart running plays. Like he didn't take any. The thing that killed me, he didn't take any shots against this awful Bengals defense. I think Troy Aikman wanted to run down on the field and put on a helmet and throw it. But Cooper Rush is a limited quarterback. It was a tough spot. Cowboys almost found a way to win it. And if they had won it, there's a chance. They have an easy schedule, too. There's a chance that they could have snuck in. Very, very frustrating.
Yeah, 5-8. Bengals are also 5-8. And, you know, listen, here's the thing about Mike McCarthy and the game plan and all of that. Rico Dowdle carried the ball for 18 times for 131 yards. And that number needed to be like 30 times. And they were getting a lot of ground. They were gaining a lot on the ground. And I think there was almost too much put on Cooper Rush. He is a backup. I know he's a high-end backup. But while I think you're going to say the positives out of this for McCarthy, I think McCarthy really needed to show something pretty amazing in these last few games for him to have an outside chance to keep this job. And yesterday, because it's, you know, he doesn't coach the special teams, but he is the head coach. That was the final play that really changed everything in this game, and that's what it came down to, the special teams gaffe. And he's got no love from the fan base. Everything is just setting up to this was the final stake for McCarthy. Like, literally last night.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's all injuries. I mean, how are you going to judge the Cowboys when Dak Prescott's not out there? Like, what are you judging?
Dak Prescott was out there, and they were getting smoked by the Saints. So I've watched the Cowboys lose in such a variety of ways this year when the offense was good, but the defense couldn't hold up their end of the bargain because they were hurt. I've seen when the defense now is good and the offense is limited. I've seen every which way. And, you know, Jerry Jones always says, oh, we love Mike McCarthy. We have so much respect for McCarthy. Well, if you respect him that much, why doesn't he have a contract after this year? You're hanging him out here for situations like last night where he's going to take the brunt of it.
Yeah. Listen, I would not bring Mike McCarthy back, but I think like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones likes having comfort with the head coach. I think he likes Mike McCarthy a lot. I don't think there's an easy other option because he's not going to bring in anyone who's a bigger name than him. So Belichick and Vrabel are out. So what are you going to hire Ben Johnson?
Okay.
It's just not going to happen,
So
Maggie.
here's what you say, right? Jerry has comfort with his head coach. Is that always the best way to do things?
Obviously not. We're talking about Jerry Jones. Nobody says it's the best way to do it.
No, I'm just
saying. But the
like,
question is not what should they do. It's what will they do. I think is interesting. What should they do? I think if we put out a poll, 95% would say move on from Mike McCarthy.
Right.
The question is what will they do?
Well, and I think the bigger point here is Jerry, right? And what's holding this team back has been Jerry Jones, and actually more specifically Jerry's ego, because Jerry does want to be the guy.
Yeah.
Like the fact that anyone, we talked about this with the Bears, right? With their president Kevin Warren, if he wants to be the guy, anyone who would dismiss hiring or at least interviewing Bill Belichick because of their own ego, if you're a fan of that team, you're sunk. And it doesn't even have to necessarily be Belichick. It's somebody who's in a position of power, who's making the decision based only on them, not on the team.
Okay.
And that's the Jerry Jones experience that Cowboy fans have been living for 35 years.
Yeah, like the Bears and Kevin Warren situation is just coming in the news the last 3 weeks. This has been happening since 1994 when he fired Jimmy Johnson.
I know. And it's unfortunate for Cowboy fans because nothing is changing because he's the owner and the GM.
Yeah.
And also because, and this is the part of it that just is the heartbreaking part of it. You actually have 12-win seasons. You do make the playoffs. It's not like the team is the Jets, who just haven't made the playoffs since 2011. It's so clear about everything that's wrong and this and that, and it's toxic and everything. You actually have some breadcrumbs here that make you have hope. They re-signed the quarterback. They're giving money to CeeDee Lamb. Like, they're doing all the things, and they're stringing you along. And I think ultimately Jerry's ego torpedoes it at the end because they'll string you along, but then when an actual change needs to be made, where's Jerry?
No, he won't. I think you can squint and see a good team next year. Now, they kept on pointing out last night, the offensive line is pure havoc right now. Like they guys are coming out. They lost guys that even coming in. They're young and they're injured. If that offensive line, if the Cowboys' history of drafting good offensive linemen comes to fruition and Cooper Beebe's really good and Tyler Guyton and Tyler Smith are really good, then you could rebuild that part of the team. You desperately, desperately need a second receiver. That's been going on for 3 years.
You had a Brandon Cook sighting last night.
Oh, God. And then you have just studs everywhere on defense. Like, you can't ignore that. That's why if I'm Belichick, I'm going straight here and saying I'm going to bring in my defensive scheme with Micah Parsons running around and Deron Bland and Diggs at cornerback. And I don't think they're going to get DeMarcus Lawrence back. But they have the pieces. They just can't keep everybody healthy this year. They easily could have been a double-digit win team this year if the entire team was healthy. I'm convinced of that. I honestly remember, we forget, but DeMarcus Lawrence looked really good when he started out the season and boom, went down immediately. That's a huge deal.
Okay, but Perloff, that's also not where the bar is for this Cowboy team. It's not, and by the way, lots of teams get hurt. I know Dak is hurt now.
Yes, and they lose games. That's what happens when you get hurt.
Well, or does it? Or do you have something called depth? Which I know is a foreign concept to the Dallas Cowboys with this top-heavy roster. But if they're such a good drafting team, then they should have some depth.
Okay, name a team that's ever survived a rash of injuries and won anything big.
Your team won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. There you go.
Yeah, but if if like one offensive lineman went down, they would have lost that game. They've never won a game without right tackle Lane Johnson on the field. Injuries, look at the Niners. I mean, honestly, like, injuries are real. They're a huge excuse. And, what happened to your Bills last year? Everybody got hurt.
And they still won the division. This is the thing. You're right to mention the 49ers because what a season from hell this has been for them, right? Everything is going wrong, and they're still not out of it, technically, I guess.
They basically have the same record as the Cowboys.
They do. But
and they're a way better team.
I don't know. I think the Cowboys are out of it. I know it's actually not looking good for San Francisco either. At 6-7, the Cowboys right now are at 5.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if Cowboys win that game last night, then they're back in. I just said I think like a team's got enough tape on Cooper Rush. The Bengals seem to know what Cooper Rush was doing last night. He really looked a step down from the Cooper Rush I've known through the years and come to love.
For all 11 starts that he's made. The other different thing about San Francisco is there's a shot they could actually win the division, which there's no shot that Dallas has that because the Eagles have already won it.
But the Cowboys' schedule was easy enough where they could have competed if they beat Washington for that last wild card spot in the NFC. Now you mentioned the Niners are definitely not out of it because they felt much healthier last week.
Yeah, but then here we go. So you're welcome to weigh in on the Cowboys. 855-212-4227. Again, you're just waking up, or if you're, watched that last night and you're like, what did I watch? Yes, you watched a special teams gaffe inside of 2 minutes that handed an extra drive to the Bengals and Joe Burrow, and it was too much. Burrow to chase, 40-yard touchdown, score, and then you're giving the ball back to Cooper Rush with a minute and a couple timeouts, but a minute, and you're asking Cooper Rush to go down the field. It's too much.
Can I tell you one thing that will not excite you as a Cowboys fan either?
I'm not a Cowboys fan, but sure.
Right. No.
The greater Cowboy fan.
You also have 3 more years of a much older, much slower Dak Prescott in your future. That part feels a little, oh man, should we have given him the money? I think that's a real question too. And if you compound bringing McCarthy back, I don't know. I bet you Cowboys fans out there, and you can call in if you disagree, feeling a little bleak today.
Yeah, but you just said things could be setting up well for next year.
I know, but Jerry's not going to do any of that. He's not going to bring in Bill Belichick, who can turn that defense into a real weapon. And I do worry about Dak's mobility moving forward.
How could you not?
Yeah.
You'd be head in the sand if you were like, no, Dak's going to be fine.
Also,
what?
The other thing, too, is they are so dependent on CeeDee Lamb. And I didn't see the all-22 overhead tape, but I'm sure the Bengals had 3 guys running around after him in the second half because he disappeared. And he is their only legit weapon.
855-212-4227. Do want to get to the 49er situation in just one moment. Sean, though, is our pal in Oregon. What's up, Sean?
Hey, I'm with Perloff on this. I think this game meant a lot more to Cincinnati than the Cowboys. Nobody expected that game to even be that close. And I like Jerry, if you're comfortable with somebody like that, just stick with them. It's like some of these spouses are, you're comfortable with your spouse, so you stick with them even after they take your car.
You're talking specifically one spouse.
Yeah, I think I see this happen a lot. Sometimes I'm more and more thankful I'm single sometimes.
This is Sean. You're killing Perloff. He's had enough. Sean, thank you. Perloff took the car this morning when his wife Sarah said specifically that she needed it today.
I went immediately to country song where a couple broke up and somebody stole the pickup truck. I wasn't even thinking about. For some reason, I didn't connect to myself right there. I was like, yeah, that's brutal. Break up and she takes the car. Oh man. Sean's talking about me.
That's amazing. Yeah, Sean's talking about you. You
took
the car this morning. Your wife specifically said last night that she needed it, and you just were on autopilot and took the car anyway.
Who is that new goalie? Oh, that's a Mackenzie Blackwood song.
She took my car. She took my heart.
We had a news update earlier. There's a new Kraken goalie named Mackenzie Blackwood who wrote a country song about. He took the Honda Accord this morning.
He took the hybrid.
Yeah.
And with it, the keys to your heart, Pearl. Yeah.
I don't even remember. What was Sean's original point?
That Jerry Jones is comfortable with McCarthy.
Yeah, I know. It's
the
reality of being a Cowboys fan.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
Yeah.
The other thing he said is he thought that this game meant more to the Bengals than it did to the Cowboys. Okay, but here's Joe Burrow. Manny, let's hear cut 7. Joe Burrow really downplayed the importance of this game given where the Bengals are in the standings.
I mean, it's nice to win. Obviously we're still not where we want to be. It's a nice win, but potentially meaningless.
Yeah, does that sound like a team that's like,
but there was
raring to go?
There was oddly something really important for this game because it was a primetime standalone game. And they needed to win a game like this. I think Zach Taylor could have possibly, we'll see what happens the rest of the season, saved his job with this win. If he had lost that game, it clearly would have been him out-coached because he had the better team by far. They have Joe Burrow going against Cooper Rush. That would have been a disaster for Taylor.
So right now, as far as the AFC standings, the Cincinnati Bengals are in 10th place.
Yeah.
And Miami's right in front of them. The Colts are right in front of them. Cincinnati has 5 wins. Miami and the Colts have 6 wins. And then it's Denver, the Chargers. Those are teams with 8 wins. Joe Burrow, you just heard it right there. And by the way, he had a brace on his knee at the end of the game. If there's anything even slightly off with the same knee that he tore the ACL his rookie season, you got to shut him down. It's not worth it. Bengals are not going anywhere this year.
Yeah, 5-8, you're not going to do that, though. They could run the table. I hear what you're saying, but finishing 9-8 would feel a lot better than 5-8. And their team is good enough that they should beat anybody. Their defense is just so awful. maybe they gained a little confidence after last night's game, holding the Cowboys to 20 points. They haven't done that
quarterback?
Yeah, I know.
Bill's in Arizona. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, hi. Hey, last night's game was proof that McCarthy needs to go. That team is so undisciplined. Who doesn't know that you run away from a blocked kick?
Yeah.
His players just have not been taught, and they've not been pushed into situational football, and that's why they'll stay how they are. And I'm a big Cowboys fan, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Bill, and you know what stinks about it? And thanks for the call. The idea that, the blocked punt, but it goes beyond the line of scrimmage, which now just means it's like any other punt. So if you're the return team and you touch it, it's a live ball, and the Bengals ended up recovering it. It's one of those tricky ones because we don't see it a lot. But the Cowboys should specifically know about this. The Leon Lett play, if you want to go back 30 years, and they also had another play where this happened more recently in a game against the Denver Broncos. And listen, Bones Fossil, their special teams coordinators, the son of Jim Fossil, is on the sideline telling them, stay away, stay away.
Yeah.
But, in the heat of the moment, can we hear from Jerry Jones, Manny? Not sure what to say to Amani Oyeware, who was the guy who touched the punt.
I don't know that we say anything to him. You just, we made the mistakes out there. That mistake we made at the end was really, it was very impactful, is all I can say.
Yeah.
By the way, I will say one thing. When I think of Mike McCarthy's shortcomings as a coach, situational football is not number one on the list because you're just as likely to lose like 47-10. I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest. The big problem is not, oh man, Mike McCarthy got outcoached in the last 30 seconds of a game. It's when you go out in a playoff game against Green Bay and let up 48 points.
Well, to be fair, and Mike McCarthy obviously knows more football than we'll ever know, but he has lost both ways. And I guess if you're around long enough, you're gonna. But he's lost in blowout form, and he's lost at the end of games with bad decision making.
But the story of this season is the blowouts.
Yes, definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
And I honestly credit McCarthy. Like that game you're going against a fully stacked, very, very motivated Bengals team and kept that game close.
855-212-4227. And we want to talk about the 49ers side of this as well. But you can call in about the Cowboys. You can also vote on our poll. Was last night the nail in the coffin for Mike McCarthy's tenure with the Cowboys? Polling about 72% of you saying yes. Also, another poll. Do you have a shared calendar with your spouse and partner? 72% of you saying no. Get on that, guys. It will save you a lot of fights.
Yeah,
as EJ knows all too well.
I wish I would have learned that last week.
Can you pull out that, by the way, cut and paste that poll so we can run it at week 11 next year when the Cowboys lose a bad game and the year after that? Or, we could use the same one from 2023 when they got killed in the playoffs, or 2022.
Micah Parsons said this was worse than a playoff loss.
Yeah. I mean, it just feels like there's messaging coming out of that building that we want to bring McCarthy back. You can't ignore it. There's just different people are coming up, and it feels like they're all in saying the same things.
Here's a silver lining for the Cowboys and their fans this morning. Two of your biggest rivals are also dealing with drama. And we're going to unpack it all next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. So you feel bad for this Cowboys special teamer guy, huh, Mag? You're being soft. If he was a Bills special team player, you would have said, get this guy, put him in Siberia.
You know, I was actually talking about this with former league MVP Boomer Esiason this morning. So I was like, you know, I feel like it was a young guy trying to make a play. But listen, maybe that's not, at this level, that's not a good enough, you know, excuse.
I think if he doesn't do that, I think the Cowboys get a field goal. I'm almost sure the Bengals score to tie the game.
Well, I mean,
because
it's Burrow and Chase, so you never know. But by the way, Perloff is talking about the special teams gaffe that defined the game last night. Inside of 2 minutes, block punt, that the Cowboys are able to block the punt, but it went forward on the line of scrimmage, which means it's just a live ball, and the Bengals recovered.
Right. I just felt like the Bengals were clearly the better team. Like, did you feel like all night they could just sort of blow this game out of the water, just start throwing to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins down the field?
They did throw to Jamar Chase down the field. He had 14 catches for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns.
But he had, I think, 85 of those in the first half. And then the second half, their offense completely fell apart until that last play where Chase. They really couldn't do anything. I felt like something went a little south with them. They were just waiting. Like, we have this game won. And then all of a sudden they looked up and like, oh my God, we're losing this game.
Wow. Yeah, that's a funny way to put it. Well, Joe Burrow, Dallas comes out of the second half. They go on a really nice touchdown drive. It was actually beautiful. They tie the game up at 17 apiece, and then Burrow threw a pretty bad pick. And then that led to a field goal for the Dallas Cowboys, and then they countered with a field goal, and then we were punt all the way until that Jamar Chase 40-yard touchdown after the block punt. So, yeah, things got a little bit stagnant. I thought that the Cowboys defense really stepped up.
Yeah, they were getting after Joe Burrow big time.
Micah Parsons was flying all over the place, and then midway through the fourth quarter, Demarion Overshawn, who's an emerging star for the Cowboys, unfortunately got hurt. Our pal Adrian is in Maryland. Adrian, you don't think Mike McCarthy should be responsible for that special teams gaffe?
Hey, Maggie, how you doing, Perloff? Hey, he's not responsible. That's a Pop Warner rule that if a block punt happens, everybody gets away, and you can see you can basically see the players on the field saying get away, the guys on the sideline are saying get away. So that's not Mike McCarthy. And Perloff, as far as Bengals blowing them out, Dallas doesn't have their starting quarterback. They don't have their starting guard. They have a starting left tackle. The center went out with a concussion. Yeah. And they scored 3 points in the second half.
Yeah,
there should be more concern in Cincinnati than in Dallas.
No,
there is. I think
Cincinnati's not good. They're definitely not good. Zach Taylor did not show himself well last night.
3 points. If Dallas has a full complement of players, they probably blow Cincinnati out. That's probably a blowout.
Kind of like the Eagles blew out the Bengals. Yeah, no.
Right,
if Dak's there, the Cowboys definitely win that game. There's no doubt about it.
So the only thing I'm saying, I get on Mike McCarthy because his play calling, time management, everything like that. But this is 100% not his fault. And Jerry Jones saying, "Oh, we should have let the punt go and took the kickoff, took the punt." That's just idiotic. That's idiotic. Who doesn't take a block punt over a return of a fair catch or something like that? And some people are saying, was it a play that was put on? No, the guy just broke the line of scrimmage. Yeah. If you break the line of scrimmage, you're going to try to block the punt, and that's exactly what he did. That was a great play by that kid and a dumb play by the guy trying to pick it up. Because you can see he was ready. He was looking at it, and he was like, I'm going to scoop and score this. Just get away and take the ball. Dallas runs the clock out, take the field goal, game's over. Then everybody's saying the narrative, oh, Dallas just beat another bad team. It's just Cincinnati. They're not a good team.
Well,
what's that?
One thing, Adrian, you mentioned I didn't know that line that they shouldn't have gone after the punt. The worst play in football, of all football, there are many bad things, is roughing the punter and giving the ball back to the punting team.
Oh, it's brutal. Adrian, you all right? We just heard someone beeping at you.
Yeah, no, somebody ran a red light, and I had to beep at them.
Oh, good.
But it's all good. But the guy, he took the right angle to block the punt, so he wasn't going to rough the kicker. He never even touched the kicker.
Yeah.
He just blocked the punt, so you couldn't fault him. If he roughed the kicker and they got a first down, okay, that's a dumb play.
On 4th and 26, that would be a disaster.
No, but to Adrian's point, it was an all-time great special teams play until it was an all-time boneheaded special teams play. That was the nature of that play. The block was awesome, and then the mind fart or whatever by
I'm blanking on his name.
Aruarie, thank you.
Right.
To touch the ball.
Right. And you can see him. He was looking like one of the track stars in the blocks, getting ready to scoop it and run, and he bobbled it.
Adrian, listen, get to work safely or home or wherever you're headed to. And it's a good call. Listen, there's a Bengals side of this, and I've been talking about Joe Burrow should be shut down because he finished the game with a knee brace. Zach Taylor, I think, is very far from safe. I can't imagine that he's feeling very comfortable right now, the head coach.
Yeah, but do you blame him for the defense? I think that's a valid question.
Well, it depends. I mean, does he want to change the defense? Is he open to that?
You going to give him some players on the defense? Are you going to spend some money on the defense?
Well, here's the thing, though. The money might be an issue, but they have spent top 100 draft picks on 8 different defensive players. It's also about developing those guys. And I know that he is an offensive dude, but you're also the head coach. If you want to get paid to be the offensive coordinator and just care about the offense, then go be an offensive coordinator. But if you're going to be the head coach, you got to be responsible for all facets, no?
I don't know. Do they have any first round? Who are the first round picks on defense?
I saw the article.
Yeah.
They have 8 top 100 picks on defense that have all been drafted, I believe, over the last 5 years.
Yeah, is that unusual?
No, but none of it. Who was panning out?
Well, I'm saying, like, obviously they famously drafted Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. So I just think, like, they really have a no-name defense. And they let Jesse Bates go, and they have Trey Hendrickson. And now, have they paid Hendrickson yet? Like, they're kind of a mess.
Okay, they have 9 defensive players inside the top 100. Joseph Asai, remember him? He pushed Pat Mahomes in the AFC Championship
Wait, sorry.
game.
Before you get out,
Daxton Hill was a first-round pick in 2022. Cam Taylor-Britt was a second-round pick in 2022. Zachary Carter, third-round pick. Miles Murphy is a first-round pick from 2022.
Yeah, like 30th.
Perloff, first-round picks. DJ Turner, second-round pick.
But wait, Maggie, doesn't every team have their entire defense from the whole league's top 100 picks? Like, that doesn't prove anything.
But you're asking, why do they need to go spend money? They're investing draft capital in, I gave you first and second round picks. You're hoping those guys pan out on defense.
Some of those guys have had good years in the past.
Cam Taylor-Britt,
he's a good player.
Had great games against the Bills.
Yeah. But you got to invest high picks to get, like, I mean, look, 2017, John Ross, terrible pick. 2018, Billy Price, center, horrible pick. 2019, Jonah Williams, guard, terrible pick. 2020, Joe Burrow, good pick. Jamar Chase, that's 6 first-rounders in a row on offense. Then they went Daxton Hill at 31 and Miles Murphy at 28. Like, they have not.
Yeah, but probably welcome this year they to the world of winning in the NFL.
Right,
You're
but
never
even, all right, they're up at 18 this year, and they happen to be in a situation where all these good defenders fell. And they said, no, we're going to go with Amarius Mims, the guy who never played any college football at Georgia. I just think, like, they have not invested. But I'm not even talking about the draft picks. Like, sign somebody. Like, do something. You have Joe Burrow. You better get some good players in on this defense to match him.
But what have we been saying, though? Because Lou Anarumo had the secret sauce to beat Patrick Mahomes. We've been saying, you got to get an offensive line. You got to get an offensive line. The year that they went to the Super Bowl, Burrow's getting sacked 8 times in an AFC Championship game.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It's just this year we're talking about their defense not being great.
Yeah, no, I know. But you're right. I'm getting caught up in the moment. But obviously, their defense is a huge embarrassment for this franchise right now.
Definitely.
And you look at, like, last night, Geno Stone had a interception, right? And even Troy Aikman was like, wow, that is good, because he has been one of the most torched defensive backs the NFL has seen in a long time.
Crazy. 855-212-4227. Yeah, we've been focusing on the Cowboys side of this, but there's a lot to unpack with Cincinnati. A totally lost season when Joe Burrow is playing, honestly, like an MVP. He's got MVP numbers. It's just for nothing. For nothing. That's got to just drive you nuts.
I mean, a lot of the numbers are because he's in nothing but shootouts, because the defense, except last night, the Cowboys, because they had a backup quarterback, finally did not, a normal team would have run the ball up and down the field and scored 35 points on that Bengals D, but the Cowboys couldn't do that with Cooper Rush. Yeah, I don't know what to do with Cincinnati. I don't know if firing Zach Taylor is the right move, because they have a great offense, and he's an offensive guy. He does not coach that defense. And I thought Lou Anarumo was good. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, Lou's magic, the pixie dust, wore off. Bogusch is here with headlines for us on this very busy morning.
And these headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your home and auto. Save when you bundle. Get a quote at Progressive.com. What? I'm guessing the Cowboys have a special teams meeting in their shared calendar after this.
The snap is good. Here comes the punt, and it's blocked. Can you believe it? It's rolling forward. The Cowboys may have touched it. If that's the case, the Bengals would get the ball.
They got it.
What a colossal mistake by the Dallas Cowboys. They just needed to get out of the way after blocking that punt. One of their players touched it, and the Bengals recovered.
That's Dan Horde on Bengals Radio. Amani Oruwariye is the Cowboy that incorrectly tried to field that punt. A teammate had blocked, touching it, let Cincy recover, keep possession. So it was the Bengals driving for the winning points in the final 2 minutes, and they got him on a 40-yard Joe Burrow-Jamar Chase connection. The 27-20 win in Dallas gets Zach Taylor's team within 3 games of a wild card spot.
It's an opportunity for the world to see that we're going to keep fighting, and this is who we are. And when the Bengals walk on the field, you're going to get our best shot.
But as you guys were just saying, their best shot has not been good enough too often this season. Now, on top of losing and dropping to 5-8, the Cowboys may have lost to Marvion Overshone to a serious right knee injury last night. Bill Belichick confirming yesterday he's had multiple conversations with North Carolina football. All he would add on Pat McAfee's show was, we'll see. Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward are Heisman finalists, so they'll be in New York for Saturday's ceremony. And Michigan All-America D-tackle Mason Graham declares for the draft he might be a top 5 pick. Monday night basketball in Toronto. Knicks Raptors in a standalone game. New York winning 113-108, despite 30 points from R.J. Barrett. Let's stay in New York and check on the Yankees post Juan Soto.
We can't have anyone freak out there, okay? We've got to keep our composure. We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
GM Brian Cashman did eventually calm down and added this.
We're ready to rock. We're ready to roll. And we need to do some business, and we intend to do some business.
Oh, good. They're going to try and add players.
Wait, Bogusch, they're ready to rock, and they are ready to roll.
Yeah. Look out, world.
That was such a rock and roll comment. Jeez, was Brian Cashman in a punk band in his teenage years?
I don't think you've met Brian Cashman. He doesn't have a lot of that punk band energy.
It almost didn't even sound like him. Like his
that
voice
was Will Ferrell, the first one.
No,
yeah.
the second one, of course. Yes, I'm aware of that.
No,
sorry.
It's funny because the Cowboys. What's the difference? The Cowboys, the Yankees. It's like, all right, now we're on to Plan B. It's like it's not just Plan B. You got to have Plan B, C, D, and E all rolled up into one because that's how much Juan Soto was Plan A. We haven't really gotten Manny's take on this. I know you're upset, Manny. You're a big Yankee fan. Who you mad at most?
Who am I mad at most? I'd probably say Hal Steinbrenner.
Because he didn't go the distance.
He didn't go the distance, but you know what? We got to pivot. I mean, what am I going to do about it? We got to pivot. Have fun with Bobby Bonilla, you guys. I hope you guys
Who's coping?
8 playoff appearances, 4 wild card appearances.
You have to understand.
2 NLDSs and 1 championship series.
If you're not in New York,
guys.
this all sounds insane. Because, the Yankees have, look at their lineup. What the heck do they care if Juan Soto's there? They have Aaron Judge.
Yeah, but they've had Aaron Judge, and he's been winning MVPs, and they didn't get to the World Series until this year.
I assumed it was middle relief, just like everything else.
Can't wait for Trent Grisham to be playing out there every single day now.
That guy crushes the Mets. I hope to never see him.
Manny, I'm sorry for you. You guys gave up a lot to get Juan Soto. You thought having him in the building for a year was going to open his eyes.
Shower him with love.
The Yankee way.
And instead you threw out his parents trying to get into the stadium.
Well, that came out yesterday. So then there was an article that came out that earlier in the season, there was a misunderstanding with Yankee security, and I believe is Juan Soto's chef.
And driver. Chef/driver.
Yes. Which is a
classic mistake.
Weird title, by the way.
It's the same guy, the chef and the driver. I thought it was 2 different dudes.
Same person, I think.
It's multi-talented. It's better than Jimmy Butler's barista. Do we know if he even has a license?
True.
Jimmy could be wasting all this money.
Like I saw in a message from our very own AB. At least I still have OG Anunoby.
Yeah.
It's true.
It's always a bright side.
So you think
I don't know how that makes any sense for a
this
basketball player with your Yankees, but sure.
So the Yankees they're going to be in the playoffs this year, though, right?
I sure as hell hope so.
Yeah, so what is why are Yankee fans panicking? I don't understand this at all.
I don't know if they're panicking, but I think it's more of the fact that they just don't trust Brian Cashman and what he will do in the offseason. I mean, you sign Carlos Rodon. The last time the Yankees had a plan B, by the way, they got Jacoby Ellsbury and Brian McCann. That didn't exactly work out for the for the Bombers. So I mean, I don't have a lot of trust.
Yeah.
I think too much will be invested right now into the starting rotation that already has way too much money invested into. So this is all great. No, this is all fun. At least it's basketball season.
Weird.
There is not a trust, I think, with the Yankee front office. And I think they thought that the mystique of the Yankees, I think this is part of it, the mystique of the Yankees and being there and going to the World Series and all that would sway Juan Soto. And I get it. Once you're talking about $760 million, easy for me to say, what's another shot at $40 million? But he's not thinking that way.
We also don't know if the Yankees had a chance to match the Mets' last offer.
I always think they would have went back.
So that was the assumption, but it almost sounds like they bumped their the 16,760 was the Yankees' last offer, and the Mets' last offer was theirs, and they just said yes to the Mets.
Yeah, so that's the reporting coming out from The Athletic, where it's 10 a.m. on Sunday where the Yankees made their last offer. And then they didn't hear from Soto and didn't hear from him until the announcement got leaked.
Then there's a lot of stuff.
No, I'm sorry. Boris called him back and said that was not right. Boris called them and said, we're going with the Mets.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah, you're right. Maybe they didn't even get a chance to counter.
And 760 over 16 years is a pretty legitimate offer. Like, I would feel the same way. I'd be a different level of heartbroken, but at some point, like, they did all they could do to get this done.
No. Don't let them off the hook like that.
No.
And I know you're not a Yankee fan, Bogusch, but Yankee fans should not do that. I'm sorry, if the Yankees were going to pay Juan Soto and match the Mets, they'd be bankrupt? They'd have to close the doors? No more Yankees? That's it? Yankee Stadium closed from here into eternity. No. That's not what would happen. The Yankees have plenty of money. They always do. And so they just didn't want to. They said they went to a spot that was uncomfortable. Okay, that's fine. But spare me we couldn't afford it. That is BS. No shot.
But I don't know, and stop making me defend them. They haven't said we couldn't afford it. They were already going to, by $60 million, reset the largest contract in baseball history. And if they didn't get a chance to word for word match the last Mets offer, that's not their fault.
Yeah, but Cashman said, I thought he said yesterday, we were already into a spot where we were uncomfortable. So I think maybe Boris knew that was the last and final, if you will.
Oof. Well, I mean, shame on Boris for not trying again.
Maybe he's sparing the Yankees a little. Maybe he's sparing them some shame that if he did go back to say that they actually said no. Nowhere in the reporting is saying the Yankees ever said no, and that might be Boris doing them a solid. Because he's got clients all over and he needs to use the Yankees in future negotiation.
I was about to say, I hate to be tinfoil hat guy, but I kind of wonder if he's like, well, the Yankees lose out on Soto, they're going to have to pay up on all these other clients I have.
have another roster of...
Exactly. And not to say that the Mets couldn't have either, but... we know who the Mets GM is. Maybe there is a chance that Mets don't just go crazy in free agency beyond Soto if they lost out on him.
Can I interest you in a polar bear?
The rest of the country does not know who the Mets GM is, and nor should they. But
David Stearns, who's
comes from a small market.
A small market, we know the deal with these Moneyball guys.
And I would love for this to have boiled simply down to Juan Soto preferring the Mets over the Yankees, but the Mets offer is $805 million.
If it comes to every penny.
It's $805 million because he's going to opt out after 5 years. And if it's going well, the Mets will easily tack on another $40 million to keep him. He's going to get $805 million. He picked the better offer. He picked the richer offer.
I just feel like
that's what he did.
I'd feel like maybe I get Bogusch's point, but I think I'd feel that way if this was us bidding against the Dodgers or the Reds or some team. The fact that they still outbid the Yankees still makes me feel good. I don't feel like, this guy's just a mercenary who came for the money. I still feel like I won something
because he chose your team over
my
the other
team. Was chosen over the Yankees of all teams. It couldn't have been any other team. It had to be the Yankees.
Here's the thing, though. What was preventing the Yankees from going to $800 million?
Because they didn't know they had to.
Well, or did they? I don't know. 855-212-4227. Again, is that saving the Yankees' face a little bit? They already said they were uncomfortable at 760.
I don't.
Yeah. Anyway.
I get it. I just feel like at a certain point, if you're the Yankees, I think when you've gone far enough, what there is, you're at 760. Just go.
Just keep going.
Yeah, we're here now.
But to Bogusch's point, did they actually have the opportunity? Perloff opt out of this conversation. $700 million.
Yeah, I think we should cut this and put it up as an example of why nobody likes New York baseball teams or New York teams in general. This is the fact that the Mets and Yankees got all caught up in their own crap with each other is so funny. Nobody's lamenting the Dodgers not getting this guy, but it's ooh, it's a lot of money.
Well, think about it. The Dodgers just signed a guy for $700 million, and they got Yamamoto on top of it, and then they just signed Blake Snell. Don't worry, the Dodgers are doing great.
Shohei was very unbothered at the Laker game.
Yeah, I mean,
he was just smiling as Soto signs his contract. He's like, it's okay, I'm gonna hit another 50.
You guys know, there's no parade.
Yankee fans aren't just in New York, though.
Yeah, but you guys know, what happens in December actually has no bearing on what's going to happen in the World Series.
Except it just did.
Yeah, I know. The Dodgers
Shohei
have literally been outspending the entire baseball thing for 15 years and finally won a real World Series. Like, it took forever.
Texas paid a bunch of guys, too, and they won.
Well, they weren't number one, though. I mean...
No, but I mean, like,
won the World
they
Series.
made moves that, like, won them a World Series. No question.
I don't know. I feel like the Mets are, like, planning a parade, and the Yankees are like, well, our franchise is over. It's like, come on. You do the classic overreacting to an offseason move.
Well-
just like the NFL. Like, we always do it. NBA is even worse. I mean, the reaction, it's an offseason move. They always are overhyped. 100% of the time.
You can make an argument Juan Soto's like the third best player in baseball. Behind Ohtani and Judge.
I'm just saying, I'm not even talking about Juan Soto. I'm just saying in general, like, oh my God, the overreaction to an offseason story. It's like, you guys ever watch sports? Do you know what's going to happen? We all know what's going to happen.
You signed Bryce Harper and he's winning MVPs and you got to a World Series. How are you the one who's saying that these things don't matter?
I just
saying sports
so
don't matter on a
overhyped.
sports radio show.
I just say free agency. Like,
am I off tomorrow?
So
Like-
that's how it's work.
Like in the NFL in March, everyone's like, oh my God, free agency is such a big deal. When everybody in the league knows, like, just the crappy players get to free agency. And, like, yeah, I mean, you're holding a parade for an offseason move. It's a classic
You
sports
know that
fan
Juan
mistake.
Soto's not a
101.
crappy player.
Yeah,
He's not overrated. It's impossible to overrate him.
No, I'm saying that it's like, no, but we say this every offseason move. Of course, you're saying this. This is like classic sports fan mistake.
The thing no one's talking about when it comes to Bill Belichick in North Carolina. We got the dirty details next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. All right, we've been talking about Bill Belichick in North Carolina, Perloff, and how this is kind of going down the road where at least publicly feels like there's a lot of mutual interest. Our pal Ralph Russo, who was on the show yesterday, was part of the team that was reporting this for The Athletic. There is so much more going on behind the scenes at North Carolina right now that I don't know if I'm Belichick if I want to step into this. Can I give you some of the details?
Yeah, please.
So according to The Athletic, the North Carolina Board of Trustees is headed by a guy named John Prayer. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And he and athletic director Bubba Cunningham are basically locked in a blood feud. So this is the 13-person group. School serves as the school's top governing body, and this guy, John Prayer, is the top of that list. And he and the athletic director, again, are at odds with each other over lots of things, whether it's budgets, whether it's how Mac Brown was dismissed, all of these things. So there's an idea that it's possible that Prayer, the guy who's the head of the board of trustees, may have possibly went behind everyone's back to go meet with Belichick and possibly even give him an offer already. And if he does that, it would be in total violation of their bylaws and charter. And so the guy who may be most excited about Belichick may actually be in violation of their bylaws and may be facing some kind of, I don't know, discipline. I have no idea.
Yeah, and so what does that mean for Belichick as far as the offer?
I think what it means is you are walking into basically having to work with a couple that looks like they're about to get divorced or something like that. So you're just walking into a situation where how high degree of difficulty do you want this to be when you have the higher ups are not speaking to each other, or I don't know if they're not speaking to each other, but they certainly don't trust each other. They certainly don't like each other, and you could get caught in the middle of all that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Arizona State, SMU, and Indiana are in the final 12, so anybody can make this thing. You don't need a history, but isn't North Carolina's football history a real concern for Belichick here? They've had more first-round picks and NCAA violations than actual wins. Like, they've never done anything. Like, isn't it kind of like a loser program? I'm sorry. Like, it doesn't feel like that's a school that obviously loves basketball. I feel like this is a tough place to go.
But if you're Belichick, your ego is probably such that you would say, I can turn it around. I'm sure Belichick
But nobody's ever turned this program around.
Well, you might have a respect for Mac Brown, who did some nice things at UNC, but was never able to get them over the hump. But Mac Brown would say, this is because of finances. We're not being financed properly, even though they just built a brand new facility for $40 million. They just redid the weight room for however many millions.
Yeah, I feel like you're already behind the eight ball at that program Anyway, I don't know. It feels like I would take any NFL job over North Carolina. And I take a bunch of other college jobs over North Carolina.
Well, I don't know if those are opening. The NFL jobs are opening, but I don't know. Is there one that looks super appealing? I guess Jacksonville because Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence has been a disappointment.
But how
the
is
Cowboys,
Belichick,
you got to coexist with Jerry Jones.
how is Belichick going to learn the college game fast enough to win here in his time frame?
Well, what he said to McAfee yesterday is that he actually spends lots of times on college campuses because he's there through the draft process.
Right, and he's a terrible drafter.
Well, he did draft the greatest quarterback ever.
In the 6th round.
855.
Passed on him 8 times.
212-4227. Drama in Philly next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, here's the punt by Ryan Rako.
Oh, got it.
Ball is blocked.
Got it.
Oh, no. Touch it. The Bengals are going to have the ball.
Oh, no.
You can't touch it when it's blocked beyond the line of scrimmage, and the Bengals are going to have it at the 45.
Oh, somewhere Leon Lett is saying, I'm off the hook.
That's the exact play without the snow.
Oh, no. That did not just happen.
That did just happen.
Oh, this one cut deep for the Cowboys fans. Thank you to the Cowboys Radio Network. When you're bringing up Leon Lett in the snow, bad things happened. And bad thing happened last night for the Cowboys on special teams. They block a punt, first play inside the 2-minute warning. But when the block punt is in front of the line of scrimmage, well, now it's just a regular old punt. And so if you touch it and then the other team recovers it, it's their ball. And it was the Bengals' ball. And a few plays later, it's what else? Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase, 40-yard touchdown. Bengals leave Dallas as a winner. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray and Andrew Perloff. And so we've got a lot of the Dallas stuff to unpack today, Pearl. But if I could give one silver lining to the Cowboy fan this morning.
Oh, boy. I think I know where you're going.
The Eagles and the 49ers are both dealing with major wide receiver drama. So their two biggest rivals also have things in disarray in their own houses. And so for the Eagles side of things, we are so pleased to be joined by Spike Eskin, who, of course, is the host of the afternoon show on WIP. He's also the host of the Brandon Graham Show, which is very much in the news today. He is also our former boss. Good morning, Spike. How are you?
Good morning, Maggie and Andrew. I'm doing great. How are you?
We had to call the bat phone on this one, dude. We had to call in the big guns, and thank you for doing this today. I know you're busy.
No worries. I saw EJ's phone pop up on my call last night at like 8 o'clock, and I was like, oh, I know what this is.
It wasn't Nick's 76ers smack talk. Now it's a little early for that. It's what happened yesterday on the Brandon Graham Show. But first, let's set this up. Before we turn to the Eagles side, you watched the Dallas Cowboys special teams gaffe yesterday. You're hosting an afternoon show, one of the Cowboys' biggest rivals. What are you going to be taking away from that today as an Eagle person?
Well, our world is a little bit on fire, actually. So I don't. We've been saying since before the year that the Cowboys season smelled like one of those seasons that everything just fell apart. You know, the weird contract stuff in camp and Jerry being weird, and it has lived up to it. So I think we've been sort of we're like 6 weeks after our Dallas Cowboys eulogy. This is just. This is, I guess, more fun to look at. Unfortunately, this gets them a better draft pick, which I wouldn't cheer for. I'd maybe want them to get a couple more wins, but this season had all the markings of one of those seasons.
Wait, but Spike, on the topic of vibes, you have to understand some backdrop of this. Like, Maggie has been secretly resenting how good the Eagles are and bragging about Juan Soto, and therefore she was thrilled to find out about the negative news that came out on your show yesterday.
I was amazed by it. I just was surprised this is still going on. So let's set up what's going on in Philadelphia. After the team escapes with a win against the Carolina Panthers, A.J. Brown, wide receiver, was complaining about the passing game, right? And complaining the passing game has not been robust enough. And I think, Spike, we saw this last year, but I think a lot of people would have written that off as, hey, listen, A.J. Brown's kind of complaining, wide receiver complaining about targets, like not exactly news at 11. It's a little weird if it's after a win. But again, wide receivers can be pretty mercurial. So then yesterday happens, and Brandon Graham, who I think is one of the most respected players, even outside of Philadelphia, Brandon Graham is known to be a great guy. He has the Brandon Graham Show, which is hosted by you and Howard Eskin. And let's just play the clip for the audience because we haven't played it yet. Here's Graham saying the relationship
of asking Brandon something and knowing what sort of answer you're going to get out of him. But it really seemed like yesterday that he came in with a purpose to talk about this. I mean, it was really that clip. It's really the first 25 minutes of the show. And honestly, throughout the show, I would ask him about something else to try to like get off of this, and he would bring it back to this. So I think he has been. So I was shocked, right? Like I was like, whoa, I didn't expect it to happen. And it's more than just that clip. He was obviously very disappointed that AJ did this in the press rather than just talking to Jalen. That was his biggest message. This is too important to bring this to the media. The irony there, but doing it in the media, but which I think he has realized that was a mistake. So I guess, he was very disappointed that it was public, and he came in with a mission to talk about that. And I was shocked that he did so.
Like, did Brandon Graham have any allegiance? Was he on Team Jalen or Team AJ Brown? Is there Team Jalen and Team AJ Brown? Does everybody know about this and sort of we're getting more clued into it as the public?
Well, I think, first of all, this sort of whispers of this started happening last year. And I don't know that anything was confirmed, but enough people were talking about it. And it was quiet. AJ signed that extension before training camp or right around training camp. And it's been largely quiet, but right around the bye week, they just changed the offense, right? Like they went into the bye week, they said, we're turning the ball over too much. And they went from, that's why Saquon Barkley has the most touches in the league. And, at the last 4 weeks, I would say it seems like Jalen's throwing for like 100 yards every week. and AJ actually tweeted something last week and deleted it real quick. And we tried not to make a big deal out of it because we knew how fans would react. But it was a weird moment, just sort of like, oh, this is coming. They're winning, but the wide receiver's not getting the ball ever. One makes $30 million, one makes 25. I guess it's not all that surprising.
Spike Eskin is joining us. He's the host of the afternoon show on WIP. He's also the host of the Brandon Graham Show, which is going to get in your timeline today if you're on social media because it's exploding.
Dude, that show never gets into anyone's timeline. We do that show for an hour every day and nothing gets said. And I walked away from last night. I was like, what the heck just happened there?
Okay, so there's more to this and why I think this is important for people all across the country, not just the Philadelphia dirty laundry. While that's salacious and fun, and we've got more questions for you about what's actually going on between these two. But why this is important for everyone across the country is that the Philadelphia Eagles are a Super Bowl contender. They've won 9 games in a row. But Spike, I ask you, and we were racking our brains trying to come up with this, have you ever heard of a Super Bowl champion team that is where the wide receiver and the quarterback really didn't get along? And again, we have more cuts for this about Brandon Graham saying how personal this is and it's beef and this and that. Is this something that could derail what is an extremely promising season for Philadelphia?
Oh, sure it could. I mean, I'm like, I don't have any doubt it could. I mean, but I think to the other conversation of that is if they can't pass the ball, that will also derail their hopes of winning a Super Bowl. Like you don't win Super Bowls throwing for 100 yards every week too. So I think everybody knew after that game, the passing game is an issue and has to be addressed. The relationship thing, you're right. I mean, there have been Super Bowl contending teams that I think you've seen itchy, relationships between a wide receiver and a quarterback. I can't think of one where they obviously flat out didn't like each other. So this might not be the best sign, I think is fair to say.
Spike, after your interview, Brandon Graham went to a charity event with Connor Barwin and Chris Long and sort of tried to bring back everything he said to you. First of all, I know that I feel like you should be good friends with Connor Barwin and Chris Long. Were you invited to this event, and was it too late for you to go out?
So I'm not good friends with either. I know Connor Barwin well enough. Yes, he has a foundation called the Make the World Better Foundation, and that's what it was for. So yes, I got the invite, but that show doesn't end until late on Monday night, and I've had enough. So I went home. So God bless Connor's charity. He does great work. But.
What do you think
Spike's
about Brandon?
the opposite of a vampire. He never goes out at night.
No, I just want to go home. My whole object for the day is eventually going home.
What did you think of Graham's sort of attempt at clearing up the damage?
I'm not surprised by it. You said it at the top, Maggie. Brandon Graham is an excellent guy. I mean, ever since I interviewed him his first training camp, 15 years ago or whatever, and he was a sweet guy then. And now he's a great guy, but he's also a team leader. And one thing that he has said over the last several weeks is how much he likes this team. Like he's proud. It's a very group. It's an interesting defense because it's a lot of young guys and it's not a lot of superstar level guys. And they've risen to being really, really good. And the energy from him for the last 2.5 months has been very, very good for Brandon. You can just sort of see it in his eyes. And I think he was really disappointed that it might be derailed and he's not on the field to do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest, this is not a great sign because we've seen the Eagles win a lot of games and it fell apart seemingly because, at least in part, because of personality conflicts. And I got to be honest, Spike, and again, I think this is why this is a story not just in Philadelphia, but throughout the country, is because look at the Lions. That's a team where it seems like there's never been a closer team. And I know that everyone says that in family and all the Dan Campbell post-game locker room things, but I think they're believing that. And I don't know if football comes down to it, but I got to be honest. I think that if it's a coaching matchup, I think Nick Sirianni might lose that to Dan Campbell. And also now with the vibes thing. Are you concerned at all that the Lions sort of, I don't know, just their aura right now is we are so together, we can't be beat. And now here we are December in the Philadelphia Eagles, because now every offensive player is going to be asked about this today. And probably every defensive player or the next time the media comes in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important week Nick Sirianni's probably had as coach of the Eagles, especially with what happened last year, and I think it was more than personalities last year. I don't think they were actually that good. And I think they got a little bit exposed, and it was a year after losing the Super Bowl. I think there were a lot of factors. It was part of it. But I think Sirianni, if he's not going to call plays on either offense or defense, and I think he's a good coach, his job has to be personality management, right? He has to make sure that the vibe in the locker room is good, and when bad things happen, that he puts out the flame. So him this week leading into their toughest opponent left on their schedule, which is Pittsburgh on Sunday. I mean, this is just a massively important week for Sirianni. As far as the Lions being together, I'm just more worried about having to play them in Detroit, where they're awesome, as opposed to playing them in Philadelphia. The vibes are good until you're down 14-0. If the Eagles can get past this, I think there's a chance they could be stronger for it. There was a lot of chaos around the bye week and the Cleveland game and Sirianni and all that kind of stuff, and they rose up and they got past it. So I think there's a chance they could be, but it's also the chance it could be the beginning of the tugging on the sweater, the strand on the sweater that unravels the whole thing. So I don't know. Should be fun.
Spike, do you think Saquon has a chance to get the rushing record? You mentioned he has the most touches. Do they sort of hold him back a little bit, save him for the playoffs, maybe derail the MVP run a bit?
We've debated this a lot about what they should do. He has to average about 121 a game for the last 4 games to break Dickerson's record. I think what will be really interesting is going to that last week of the season against the Giants, if that game doesn't mean anything to the Eagles, whether he plays and whether they go for it, depending on how far away he is, especially against the Giants. Yeah. I think it could make for a lot of drama. I think he probably cares about it. But as far as getting his workload down, I think that ship has sailed. He's gonna if they play 2 playoff games, he's gonna be over 400 carries. He's gonna be limited next year. All this stuff is you might as well just go for it, I think.
Spike, we've kept you for a while, so thank you. 2 more, one sports, one non-sports. So
okay.
what's the term? $20,000 question, $30,000, whatever that game show was. The question, just taking this all the way back to Brandon Graham, again, the Brandon Graham Show, which Spike is the host of, making all types of news yesterday because Brandon Graham aired out some dirty laundry between quarterback Jalen Hurts and wide receiver A.J. Brown. What is the issue? What's going on between these two? Do you know? Do you have any idea?
I don't. Well, I guess I heard nothing like for sure that I know, I guess. You hear, once things start going bad last year, you start hearing everybody's talking and there's like little rumors you hear about certain things. I think ultimately it just comes down to wide receiver is this weird position where you can be the most talented player on the field, but you only touch the ball 6 times in a game. Whereas, and there's Saquon's getting the ball 23 times. Jalen touches the ball every time. And here's A.J. Brown, who's probably the best player on offense of all of them. And he gets the ball 4 times in a game. And I think it just makes those guys crazy. And I think it really just comes down to he's open a lot of times early in the play. Jalen doesn't throw him the ball because he's either second guessing or doesn't have the arm strength to get it in there. And I think it's driving A.J. Brown crazy. I don't know that there's anything like personally between the two, though I've heard weird rumors, but I don't think that's the case.
Okay. And then non-sports question for you. And again, thanks so much for the time. We have a poll question up now. Do you have a shared calendar with your spouse or partner? Because that's been a big issue today. Both Perloff and EJ, different dog houses, but similar type of thing, all about scheduling errors. I've tried to tell them, and well, listen, Perloff's been married a long time. You got to have a shared calendar. It's the only way to make this thing work. You're married. What do you think?
Your lips to God's ears. The problem is, like, after I was a manager for like 15 or 20 years, whatever it is, I feel like every relationship in my life, I'm sort of like managing somehow. My wife and I were missing things like this. And she would say, hey, remind me when you're not going to be here on a Friday or something. So I created a shared calendar. I showed her how to use it. And the day after I shared it 2 years ago was the last time she looked at it. So I think it is effective. I put everything in my calendar. I put my drive to work in my calendar. I learned that a long time ago. It's helpful for me, but it takes 2 to tango on that one, Maggie. You know, and I couldn't get her to. I guess you could use this in a number of ways, but I couldn't get her to do it. You know, so I tried very hard.
Spike,
I couldn't get her to play along.
You'll be happy to know I haven't checked my work email since you left. So I think me and your wife are in the same bucket. Yeah. You were always frustrated. Yeah. And EJ's the same way. Like, we're not going on the calendar.
It is the ultimate radio show hosting is to not check the work email. It drives me insane still to this day.
Now that you're a host, do you check the work email?
Oh, once a day. I do. Yeah.
Actually,
even though I barely get any emails, I check it once a day. You work at a job for a big company. Check your email. Grow up.
This would be the best, because I am a company email checker, and Spike would actually write emails to that company email that he knew nobody was looking at. That's like, check it. You're not 6 years old.
Yes.
You're a grown-up.
You're an adult.
Check this email address.
We're all putting our head in the sand so we don't have to watch the HR videos. I'm like, well, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, but then you know what happens? The day before they're all due, the manager gets a call from HR and says, if you don't get these 17 people to watch this video within 24 hours, they're not allowed to come to work tomorrow. And then you got to call every one of them and be like, please. And then the host is like, but I don't know my password. It's like, oh! It's like, so you're just making your boss's life worse.
I know.
Just check your email.
Spike, you're the one and only time I've ever really hard rooted for management. You are the only person I'm like, man, Spike, this is not easy. Let's make his life a little easier. No, we did that.
You always did.
Thanks.
You always did.
All right, Spike. Well, congrats on the big get with the Brandon Graham show. It's a lot of drama. It's great for our business, but also might be bad for the actual football side of this thing. So we'll stay tuned to that. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Spike.
Thanks, Spike. All right, Spike Eskin. He's the host of Afternoons WIP, Ike, Spike, and Fritz. Also, the Brandon Graham Show, which should be top of the resume now, and also the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. Say the name.
I don't care about any of this. Get out there and do your job. Catch the football. I don't hear about vibes, Maggie. Run the play, execute the play, and win the football game.
The only reason why you don't want to hear about vibes is because your vibes are off.
Brandon, A.J. Brown has not lost a game that he's suited up this year. What do you mean the vibes are off? The vibes have presumably been off all year, and they've been nothing but trouncing people.
I know, but you got off to a 10-1 start last year as the Eagles, and then everything fell apart. There's still time for this to fall apart.
That was the defense.
It could be the
We
personality.
have Cooper
this
DeJean
time.
and Quinyon Mitchell now. Fixed everything.
It might not be the same thing every time. By the way, these underlying issues between Hurts and AJ Brown, like I know sometimes it's hard, I think, for guys to communicate, but they've got to communicate here. You got to open up.
What is it? What is AJ Brown's record when he's on the field?
Well, clearly not good enough. If after a game,
10-0.
after a win, he's out here complaining.
I want him to hate Jalen Hurts even more and keep winning. An angry AJ Brown is a good AJ Brown too. That's another thing. Like you got to get him super engaged. Watch, he's going to manhandle a poor defensive back. He's going to take it out on them.
Poor Devontae Smith. It's like, wait, what? No one cares if I get catches?
No, Devontae Smith, it's a totally different issue. Every time he makes a tremendous catch, you're like, did he just survive that hit? Not just for the year, like. He's so good, but he's so skinny. They're totally opposite. There's plenty of issues, Maggie. You're not going to get me worried about this one. You had Stephon Diggs forever.
I know. I liked him. 855-212-4227. Team didn't win jack with him, though.
You tell me he wasn't getting into Josh Allen? They at least got to the playoffs.
Yeah. Listen, better off without him. Okay. Lots more to do, and including two-time All-American from Penn State, Paul Posluszny is going to join us in a few minutes. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Guess how much hotel rooms are going for at the Nittany Budget Hotel for the weekend of Penn State's opening round college football playoff matchup against SMU, Perloff. The Nittany Budget Hotel. How much do you think that's going for per night?
$700.
It is going for $800 a night if you want to stay at the Nittany Budget Hotel, because State College, Pennsylvania is going to be rocking as Penn State hosts SMU. And we're so pleased to be joined by, and this is not a hyperbole, a legendary player for Penn State. He's now being inducted into the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame. He's already in the College Football Hall of Fame. He was a two-time All-American, two-time Chuck Bednarik Award winner, Butkus Award winner. If we listed all the accomplishments, we wouldn't have time for the interview. Paul Posluszny, good enough to join us. Paul, congratulations on the NFF Hall of Fame induction. How are you feeling about your Nittany Lions?
Number one, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. But most importantly, awesome situation for Penn State, right? How exciting is that for all of State College, Happy Valley, the state of Pennsylvania? Just so much excitement around this season. So we're definitely excited for it.
Paul, are you glad that they lost to Oregon and get to host a game? Be honest.
No, I mean, because, Big Ten championship, but it was interesting. I was talking to the guys, afterwards. I said, hey, how's the team feel? It's a tough loss. And they're like, hey, let's go. We have a home game now, home playoff game, first in Penn State football history and in this type of environment. So just super excited about, the opportunity ahead and the fact that Beaver Stadium, you're going to have all that excitement, that live atmosphere. It's going to be great.
And Paul Posluszny is joining us, and you're from that area. We know how much Penn State means to you, so you're still really connected to the program. I mean, are you going to be at this game? I imagine you're out staying at the Nittany Budget Hotel, but I don't know if you can get a room anyway.
Not after I just heard those rates that you got that you said. No, but I mean, we will be. Unfortunately, we're not going to make this one, but my wife and I will definitely be cheering from back home. But yeah, just like I said before, just super excited for the guys, the program. So Dan Connor, former teammate of mine, is now coaching linebackers at Linebacker U. So I'm in touch with him, asking about the guys, see how things are going. But still very much just excited for the program and as involved as much as we can be.
All right, take the Penn State. You're not a Penn State alum anymore. Just objective. How good is this team? What are the strengths and the weaknesses?
I think when you look at them, so obviously defensive guys, so I'll go there first, right? When you look at what they've been able to do defensively all year long, very impressive. Obviously, with the Oregon scored some points, but that's okay. Oregon's an outstanding team. But you see what they do on defense, the type of players they have, the athletes that they have. To me, that really, really stands out. I think they're great on that end of the ball. And then offensively, I think you have stud athletes, and some key positions. Quarterbacks playing well. It's just they're an exciting group to watch.
They got some good news, too, that their offensive coordinator, Andy Koltnicki, is going to be staying. They thought that he might take the West Virginia job, but it looks like he's going to be back, so that's exciting, I guess, to keep some continuity there. Paul Posluszny is joining us. He's getting inducted into the National Football Foundation Hall of Fame. He's already in the College Football Hall of Fame. He's a two-time All-American, Penn State alum. Paul, obviously the team full of talent. I think the question that a lot of people outside of Penn State, and maybe some even in Penn State, would have is about James Franklin in a big game. The record is not awesome. If you could talk to Coach before this game, and you could say anything to James Franklin with this massive opportunity to host SMU in the first round of this college football playoff on your home field, what would you tell him?
I don't think Coach Franklin needs any advice from me. Let's put it that way. I mean, I know, people can say about records in big games, but the main thing is Coach Franklin has done a great job of preparing his teams, getting ready to play, getting the team and environment excited about an opportunity like this. And they're going to be prepared. They'll be prepared, ready to go. I think this will be a great chance for them to kind of take that next step.
Paul, do you like the 12-team playoff? I think during your career, you clearly would have made this 12-team playoff. Is it better for college football that more teams have a shot?
I think it brings another level of excitement, right? Knowing that you can before you had to have a shot. You knew you had to go undefeated. You lost a game, and then all of a sudden your national championship hopes were done. But with this, it's exciting to get more teams involved and to know that even if you have a very challenging game and you have one loss, that you still have a shot at the national title. I think that's great. I think that's great for the student athletes to have that type of opportunity.
Paul Posluszny is joining us again, National Football Foundation. He's getting to the Hall of Fame. So I imagine when you're about to do this, memories come up, Paul, of your time at Penn State, trying to maybe, I don't know if you're giving a speech or something like that, but, trying to think back, if you're looking back at your Penn State career, we're on in Harrisburg, we're on all throughout Happy Valley, this show. What are some of the memories you have from your time there?
I mean, once we found out about this, about the National Football Foundation, you immediately start to think of the people that made it possible. So think of Tom Bradley, who recruited me to go to Penn State, Ron Vanderlinden, the one very fortunate to play for the best linebacker coach in college football. And then you think of the guys that you played with, Sean Lee, Dan Connor, Tom Bahali. I mean, I could go on and on. But that's what immediately came to mind. It's the people that you got to play with, those special games that you were a part of, playing Ohio State in 2005 at a whiteout. Those are the memories that will be with you forever.
Paul, this is personal to our show, but I'm from Philadelphia, and I claim that I have rights to claim myself as a Penn State fan. I know you're from Pittsburgh or near Pittsburgh. I think Penn State is both a Philadelphia and a Pittsburgh team, and my co-host Maggie Gray says that is unacceptable.
I don't believe this. Philadelphia's college team is Penn State? That doesn't make sense to me, Paul.
Why? Well, let me ask you this. Why is that? Because so when we were going back to thinking about school, we either said, well, you're either from the Philadelphia side or the Pittsburgh side. But either way, you're Pennsylvania through and through. So I'm for the state of Pennsylvania being all Penn State.
I just think, how do you put the rivalries aside? I thought Philly and Pittsburgh kind of had a little bit of a friendly rivalry, no?
Oh, no, they definitely do.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Pittsburgh people are a little tougher than the Philly people. I will admit that.
Depends on who you ask, and on what day. But no, there's a healthy rivalry that you think about, like Western Pennsylvania. We would always, WPIL football versus the Philadelphia League's, high school football. But there is a great friendly rivalry there. But once you get to at the college level, I said we're all Penn State through and through.
Paul, another question for you. And again, congratulations and thanks for joining us this morning. Thanks for getting up early. We know you're on the West Coast today, so appreciate that. And it's just kind of, we find ourselves now talking a lot about coaching. And Bill Belichick now is maybe thinking about taking the North Carolina job, which is kind of throwing us all for a loop. You played against Belichick when you were with the Bills and the Jaguars, a lot of memorable games there. It's ironic a little bit. Your college career played for Joe Paterno, who was like the stalwart there. He was there for so long. Then you get to the NFL, and you kind of were victim to a revolving door of coaches with both the Bills and the Jags. And just the idea now that we're about to be in coaching firing season. In some ways, we've already gotten there. Just what the impact is on players and great players like yourself when at the NFL level, it's just constant revolving door of coaches and you got a new message every couple years. Can you just explain a little of what that's like as opposed to what you had in college, which was the stability of Joe Pa?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you don't realize how fortunate I didn't realize how fortunate we were at Penn State to have the same group until I got to the NFL. I just thought that that's the way things were. And then all of a sudden you get to the NFL, and every 2 years, if you don't have success, you have to learn a new staff, a new defensive system, a new language, the way that we talk, the way that we communicate. And to get to the level that you want to be at and to play great, you need consistency. So that's the challenge is when you don't have success and then things constantly change. You're never able to reach that level of consistency where you're able to say, okay, I know the defense inside and out. I know what the guy next to me is supposed to do. And that's when you play really, really fast. That's when you play at your best. So with the constant change and turnover, that just slows down that process. So that is a challenge for sure, to be able to fight through that, quickly adapt, and get to the level of play that you want to be at.
Do you think Belichick would be a good college coach? Again, I know you didn't play for him, but you definitely played against him, and especially that memorable AFC Championship game when you were with the Jags.
Well, ultimate respect for Coach Belichick and the way that he does things. I think, so playing against New England, especially when I was with Buffalo twice a year, every year, they were always the most disciplined and the toughest teams that we played, regardless of whether it was Brady who was a quarterback or not. That was the mentality of Belichick teams. To have him lead a group of young men at the college level, I think would be, I think he would have an enormous impact. Let's put it that way. The way that he does things, what he knows, just the prestige that he brings, it would be very impressive to see him lead a group of young men, especially in that type of environment where you can really, he could have an impact. He can mold them, teach them. It would be enormous to have the opportunity to play for a guy like that.
Paul, one thing we read is that Belichick might not go on recruiting visits all the time. I think the recruiting game has changed a little bit. I assume Joe Paterno came into your living room, right? What's it like to have Joe Pa walk into your house? To me, I love recruiting stories.
I was so nervous because it's Joe Paterno, and even I know you're the one being recruited, but it's still, I just remember just almost in awe of Joe Paterno coming to a small town in Western PA to visit with us. I mean, he came to our high school as well, and it was like a celebration. Like it was a homecoming celebration when Joe Paterno came to visit. It's very special to have that type of coach, that type of man, come and show and say that we want you to be a part of something. So that's impactful for sure.
Paul Posluszny joining us. Paul, thank you again for doing this. Congratulations. National Football Foundation Hall of Fame. You're in the College Football Hall of Fame, the two-time All-American, two-time Bednarik Award, Butkus Award. You did it all in college and at the pro level. Such a great career. Thanks for the time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Congratulations.
I mean, that's an easy one, actually, for Joe Pa. He didn't have to even travel that far, and he's got a linebacker like Paul Posluszny playing right in the state. That was probably the easiest recruiting trip he ever went on.
Yeah, but can you imagine, to me, the fascinating thing is Belichick walking into the living room, just like, Coach, can I get you some tea? And I guess Bill Belichick is showing himself to be more sociable than we knew. He has this young girlfriend, whatever. I'm not even going to get into that. He's pretty funny on some of these shows, the Manning Cast and McAfee. But it's just so funny. I mean, it's one thing to have Joe Pa, who's walked into a million living rooms, to be the first living room where Bill Belichick walks in and says, ma'am, can your son come to North Carolina? I'd be like, what is happening right now?
Day by day.
Yeah, I don't think that he'd be doing the living room thing.
Well, he's got to do, there was a report that he would not do that now, but he's got to do at least the quarterback living room. He's got to do some living rooms. He's got to go visit somebody.
I'm going to just put this out there. Unless the recruits father or mother coached at the Naval Academy, I don't think Belichick's got time for parents. I can't imagine there's anything that would annoy him more than a parent having a strong opinion about how much their kid should be playing, what their kid should be making. from NIL. Like, I don't think he's
Yes.
going to have he wouldn't have the patience for any of that.
Yeah, I know. That's why I think a lot of people, including myself, are wondering, is this the sport for Bill Belichick? I know it's more professional now, but these kids are 18 to 22, and I feel like 22 to 30-years drove him insane.
Yeah.
How's he going to deal with guys who are right out of high school?
Did you see Brady and Edelman and Gronk making fun of this on Fox's Sunday morning
that was
show?
Great.
And Brady doing his Belichick impersonation, saying, like, you can come here. I mean, we don't want you anyway, but you can come here if you want to come here. It's like, yeah, that's Belichick.
He gave tough love to Tom Brady. What about when he gives tough love to your 4-star quarterback? And also, you're at North Carolina. You're not even getting the best players.
Well, you might now with Belichick.
I seriously doubt that, because the other thing too, when are you going to hire him? Because you're about to miss out on all these transfer portal quarterbacks. Better do it soon.
Again, I was getting kind of bullish on this, more bullish on it, until I read that story about what's going on with North Carolina behind the scenes. The head of the board of trustees is this blood feud with the athletic director. I mean, that just feels like one of those bad corporate relationships when they talk about culture and stuff like that. Like, I know Belichick I'm sure would change a lot of it, but that sounds like he's walking into a hornet's nest.
That administration has been an issue for like 15 years.
They had Drake May and did 0.0 with the program, like nothing. This is a basketball school through and through. And it feels like a desperate move. If you're going to go to college and just kick Napier out, go to Florida. I mean, geez, why are you going to North Carolina?
855-212-4227. Well, our thanks to Paul Posluszny. Fantastic talking to him about Penn State. It's going to be a big weekend. $800 a night if you want to stay at the Nittany Budget Inn.
For our Nittany Lions.
I've stayed there before.
What's it like?
It's cute.
I mean, when budget's in the name, you expect no frills.
Yeah, no, but when things like this happen, then it's suddenly not so budget. I digress.
Yeah, apparently fall commencement is literally the next day. Talk about bad planning.
That's going to be crazy.
So half the hotel rooms, I guess, were already taken.
Yeah, my mom has told stories about her commencement. It was spring, obviously, but that is a wild time and you know, Manny.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I grew up in a college town in Binghamton, right. So commencement weekend, people book this the day their kid gets accepted into the school. They'll book the weekend 4 years from then just to have it. And I get it. 855-212-4227. They're on a lot of hotel rooms. Okay, coming up, lots more to do, including the drama in San Francisco that we have not touched on yet. We do it next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. I'm very conflicted about the Penn State bandwagon, Maggie.
Why?
Because I honestly don't even really think they should be in this playoff because they haven't played anybody, and I'm annoyed by the lack of strength of schedule. But if they win, I'm going to be super annoying, and I'm going to start wearing gear, and you guys are going to kill me.
I mean, if that's not just right on the nose,
I don't
Andrew
trust
Perloff.
James Franklin, though.
Well, of course you don't. He's 1-15 against top 5 opponents, and SMU's not a top 5, but you know this is the biggest game, and you're hosting it on your campus.
I don't even know what you're saying.
I thought the fact that it really didn't matter who won that Oregon-Penn State game would be enough impetus to give James Franklin the win, and even that wasn't enough.
I think that's what Nick Costos told us on Friday, right? Did he?
No.
Did he pick Penn State? No, he didn't. Did he?
He did. He said he liked Drew Aller.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, but our thanks to Paul Posluszny, who just joined us, who's obviously Penn State legend and is getting to the NFF Hall of Fame. Not going to be at the game. If you're going to go, it's going to cost you. And I imagine that's not just for Penn State. I mean, all of these cities that are hosting games, like what do you think the hotels are going for in South Bend, Indiana?
Well, yeah, but they're used to that for the regular season. Is it probably just like a regular season game? The stadium still fits the same number of people. And they're all sold out. But
I just imagine
it wasn't the thing is it wasn't planned for, so it's probably chaos to get these rooms.
Right, like last minute.
Yeah.
And I think even more
more
people would just come on the hopes that they get a ticket, you know, hoping for the miracle, stuff like that.
Well, what are the teams that are hosting? Like, I don't know, if you go hang out in South Bend, Indiana, it's probably cold and crappy out. I don't know.
Austin's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Austin is impossible anyway.
But that's a big city.
Yeah.
South Bend State College, there's like a cap on how many hotel rooms are in that city.
But they had big problems for that Georgia game, right? Where people could not get a room within an hour of Austin because, yes, it is a big city.
They also had a Formula One race
going
on
that
that weekend,
remember? South by Southwest and Austin City. I think Austin City Limits was going on at the same time as the Georgia game, so they ran out of hotel rooms. I don't know what's going on this weekend, though. Yeah.
Bogusch has headlines for us. What's up, Bogusch?
These headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect your family, your phone, and your furry friends with life, electronic device, and pet health insurance. We spent last night wondering which disappointing team would give away Monday Night Football in Dallas. It was the Cowboys, adding another botched special teams play to their lore. This time, as you've heard all morning, Dallas blocked the late Bengals punt, but with the ball going past the line of scrimmage, Cowboy Amani Oruwariye touched it, allowing Cincinnati to regain possession. 50 seconds later, they had the deciding points.
Joe has the football. He'll look to throw. Fires a pass. Caught by Jamar Chase. Down the sideline. 20, 15, 10. Touchdown! Bengals! 1:01 to go. A 40-yard strike to Jamar Chase.
Dan Horde on Bengals Radio, second touchdown of the night for Chase. He caught 14 passes for 177 yards, his team winning 27-20. It was Chase's fifth career game with at least 10 grabs, 175 yards and 2 scores. That's more than anybody else in NFL history.
Bogusch. So Lapham was the voice on the behind him, right? The color guy for the Bengals?
I believe so.
I think, well, we used to play, so Dan Patrick, when I was at Dan Patrick, was from Cincinnati, and every week the only guy we'd call was Lapham for Cincinnati because he's the craziest homer college guy in the NFL. You hear he's Zolak on steroids. That one wasn't even bad, but yeah, he is insane. I thought you were a big fan of his. I thought we talked about this.
For some reason, I had a thought in my head that he had retired. So that's why
maybe he did.
I
Maybe
wasn't sure
else.
that was, but that would be him because that's how he behaves in the booth.
I like a homer for NFL. Like I don't know who does the Bills, but I like a guy yelling and screaming at the end.
Well, Chris Brown just got hired by the Bills, and Eric Wood is the color analyst.
Oh yeah, he doesn't seem like he's very analytical, Eric Wood.
Well, listen, he gets excited.
All right.
Moving on quickly, Duke QB Malik Murphy's back in the transfer portal. The former Texas Longhorn just threw a school record 26 touchdowns while leading the Blue Devils to 9 wins. The Knicks and Raptors alone on last night's NBA schedule. The light schedule because we have to gear up for the NBA Cup quarterfinals. They begin tonight with Magic Bucks, then Mavs Thunder. The Knicks won last night, by the way, 113-108 in Toronto. I guess their Elite Eight game is on Wednesday. Nick, losers, friends, fans? What?
Elite Eight.
They're not listening.
No.
What?
Wow, this was your
like
opportunity to talk. Bogusch just teed you guys up to talk Knicks and no one was paying attention.
Wait,
now
guys.
we don't ask him about the Knicks for another week.
I was paying attention, but he
Working on
called
this
us
show.
losers.
I know. As soon as he said Knicks losers, I was like, what? We won last night.
I was about to give you a well-formulated answer, but you know what? Go scratch.
Bogusch, when do they go to Vegas? The Final Four?
Yes.
They got to win the next game.
Got it.
Yeah.
Trey Young. That ass is grass.
My goodness, yeah.
I don't know what to say to that.
This is the type of thing. What happens on this show is a little, I think, of what I've heard happens with the Celtics before they won the championship, where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum used to always compete before the All-Star game was announced because they both were competing to make the All-Star game. And then once they made the All-Star game, then they could relax and become a team. We can't become a show until the stupid NBA Cup is over because half the people on the show love it and half the people on the show hate it. And we cannot come together as a unit until this ridiculous thing is over.
No. There's no way the NBA Cup is worth hating. We dismiss it as totally irrelevant. Nobody hates the NBA Cup. It's just nothing.
I stand
It's a
corrected.
nothing burger.
Okay, back to you, Bogusch.
And let's not act as if the NBA Cup would, or the lack thereof would keep them quiet about the Knicks. They'd still be yapping at Trey Young on a Tuesday in December.
Yeah.
I don't know what that game is
Bogusch,
called.
I blame you. Who needs to read the Knicks score? Don't give them the red meat.
Well, the first update I just said the Raptors won. I didn't even say who they beat, and no one picked up on that.
The Knicks won.
I was trying to be. Well, I just the Raptors lost.
Yeah,
so trying to be dismissive, and it went right past it.
Show's wrapping up. I'm working on 5 different things back here.
What's Manny doing?
He's doing stuff too.
Still hungover.
I'm looking handsome over here.
We're busy behind this glass, Bogusch. Like Xavier Woods told Big E, go back to your desk. That's a wrestling cut, by the way.
That's why I don't know it.
Jeez. Couldn't possibly made that worse than you did.
And that's the show.
Power close.
I'm only praying that Paul Posluszny hung around for that last segment. Like, what did I just join?
Put that in your Google Calendar with your spouse.
Thank you, EJ and Manny and Ray and Bogusch and Kaplan, Paul Posluszny and Spike Eskin.